Hello there and welcome back to the action of the China Open as we see ourselves with Neil Robertson against Chang match. A very interesting lineup there with the world number 2 facing up against the world number 47. You might feel like this should be very much a walk in the park there, at least based on the odds for someone like Neil Robertson, but the stats will tell you otherwise. Because in spite of them not really having a matchup against each other, apart from a walkover that we've seen in the German Masters last season, but, you know, we haven't really seen a lot of great performances there from Robertson, and as you can even see, you know, Chang has barely made fewer breaks of 150 plus there, alongside Neil Robertson, despite, of course, Neil and Chang both reaching a final. On one occasion at the ranking events last season, Robertson was able to win that one against Ronnie O'Sullivan in Saudi, whilst Chang was trailing against Chris Wakelin at the Scottish Open. So it will be very interesting to see this one, but I do believe that Chang will be too strong for Robertson based on form. But, you know, you can always have that great performance from the world number 2 that, of course, he's going to be very much motivated to try and get himself onto the world number 1 spot, especially with Trump getting eliminated yesterday up against Naponte Khan, that will now play against Ronnie O'Sullivan. You know, we don't see someone like Weezer playing too well, and he had to force the decider against Yao Cheng. He's going to be up against David Gilbert, which is not going to be an easy opponent for him to beat. And then, of course, Zhao is about to play Zhang Anda tomorrow. So, whether it is going to be an easy walk in the park for Robertson, we'll have to wait and see. I don't really think that's going to be the case. I think Chang is always going to be a threat. But, yeah, we're going to have to wait and see what happens. It's going to be fascinating to see the way this match is actually going to progress, because I think for me, there are a couple of scenarios, but mainly I can't really see Robertson getting away with it. So 6-1, 6-2 I think is going to be out of the picture. But ultimately not out of the picture for someone like Chang, that, you know, he's managed to build his game, has managed to build his whole thing and playing style around the way of trying to get with the momentum early. And then once he's got that, it's going to be very difficult to stop that, even from the perspective of Neil Robertson. As we now going to introduce the players onto the table number 2. Of course, we're going to have Si Xiaowei against Jiang Jun, another Chinese derby here at the China Open. So we're going to have to wait and see if Si Xiaowei is going to be another potential player to try and get it quite far towards the stage of the China Open. Then, of course, we could still see someone like Neil Robertson to play against Si Xiaowei. So the 2 tables at the end are going to form only one match, and the winner of which will be progressing through towards the quarterfinal stage as well. So, for now, 56% of you think that he's going to be Robertson to win, which is fair enough. I mean, he is the world number 2 after all, but I would still say he will be down to a decent opportunity for Chang Minyu at least to say that he's going to be in the game. Whether he's going to be staying there or not, it's going to be another factor, but I do expect a pretty relatively quick game. Whether it's going to be like that or not, I suppose we have to wait and see. But yeah, I think all in all, it was a really good performance based on the qualifiers there from Chang Minyu, and based on, you know, what we've seen in Shanghai from Neil Robertson. I mean, getting absolutely thrashed by someone like Zhao Xington didn't really help, despite him, of course, being able to get through the first rounds with Xiao Guodong. So now then, we're ready to introduce the players onto the table number 2. And as you can see, 1.2 million worth of ranking points for Neil Robertson. But Chang Minyu has only had 1 season on the tour since his return from the 2-year ban that he received in 2022. We're now going to have the referee, Liang Yang, to be introduced towards the table. And of course, then he's going to be turned for Chang Minyu. But as I said, in the first year that Chang was very much participating at the World Snooker Tour, he has managed to score 149,000 worth of ranking points, which, I mean, is not too bad considering that it's his first year back on the tour, and he's probably managed to guarantee himself to stay on the tour with only that season as well. But I think ultimately, with him being age 23, he's had a final to be reached against Chris Wakelin, and he got absolutely thrashed in that particular occasion, but still ultimately played some really good snooker at the Scottish Open. So now we're going to have to wait and see and what is going to happen now as Chang Minyu makes his way towards the table number 1. And now we all await for the world number 2 to get back towards his own seat, and Neil Robertson to make his way towards the table number 1 as well. He's still going to be one of the favourites based off the statistics and based on the numbers when it comes down to the trophy, but I think he's going to have one of the most difficult draws in the entire tournament out there. You can see aged 44 there, Neil, as by the way, Sean Murphy, after that brilliant 607 points without an answer, he's about to get his birthday today. So then, Neil Robertson now makes his way towards the main table, and now we're about to get ready for the action, and it will be all down to Neil Robertson versus Chang Min-yu. Probably the biggest matchup in relation to the names and what they've managed to achieve in the game in the first round as well. You know, arguably you could have someone like potentially Jackson Page against Ronnie, or Trump against Naponto Kam, or even Jaranda against Xiaoxington. But I think this one, based on what we've seen of both Chang and especially Robertson, of course, is going to be the biggest matchup of the first round. And that's why it's going to be so highly anticipated. So as I say, absolutely no data for us to see based on the head-to-head in between the two players. And the only meeting they were supposed to have was in German Masters in 2026. But Robertson has managed to receive a walkover at that particular occasion. He's now trying to clean his cue out there before getting himself back on towards the action. And there'll be a handshaking between the players. So now let's see. I think it is going to be Robertson to go for the break-off. So then, Neil Robertson ready to get us underway. And yeah, I mean, certainly doing a little bit of maintenance there on the cue. But hopefully that would help him to try and perform quite well here in the opening stage of the match. Because if he gets through the opening couple of frames with the lead, then I think he's got a great chance of trying to prove the doubters wrong and try and get himself through towards the second round with yet another player from China. Now then, the break-off seems to be pretty good, although one of the Reds has gone away from the pack there. And well, it's going to be interesting to see there whether Chang wants to try and go for that red straight away. I think the answer has to be no at this occasion, but you know, still thinking about the black probably getting a little bit compromised there by another red. So then, very careful brush of the reds in towards the right-hand side of the table. Nice little cue ball control as well. And I think Robertson is probably going to be aiming for the third closest red to the right side cushion. And potentially get that one in towards the black. Depending on what sort of line does he want to choose. I think that should give him the best possible opportunity of getting through and towards the right side cushion. Indeed, that's what he played there. But deciding, whether he was on purpose or not, but deciding to miss the black there. And now, still getting a very good cue ball control at the ball cushion here. So then a chance for a shot on the right-hand side of the Reds to try and develop a little bit there. But he decides to try and go for the left-hand side instead, which still needs to be careful about these type of shots, because as he tries to go for the highest red of them all, well, now needs to get cover on those reds into the right corner. Let's see if he's got it, because you feel like Robertson might have a very straight line in relation to the red to be taken into the right corner here. So, of course, after his match against his opponent of, Xiaoxington in the Shanghai Masters, he would know that sometimes you have to take the chances as soon as they come to you, because you may not be able to get another couple of them for the next couple of frames. Now then, clearly going for this red into the corner. The pockets so far have been very, very generous. So let's see what's going to happen here then. And, well, even though the pockets have been generous, it's still going to be a mistake there from Neil Robertson. But the question is, has he managed to get away with that to an extent? Because is there only going to be a plant available for Chang Min-yu, which will make his life a little bit more difficult, I should say. But, of course, the fact that will make his life easier is going to be a potential of the black to be heading in towards the right corner. Well, I mean, that's not necessarily the easiest way for you to try and get the first red on the board, but should be able to do that. Whether it is going to be by trying to squeeze the red past the first one, or is it going to be trying to get a plant in, and in the end, just tries to power his way through the red without touching the other one. Barely possible on that occasion, but he certainly was able to squeeze that red in. And now, Chang Min-yu is going to have the chance of trying to get himself up the table and onto the scoreboard. And whilst Robertson is still going to be very much getting the percentage in the poll, I am genuinely thinking that this can easily go one way, and for it to be 6-1, 6-2 in favour of Chang. But on the other way, I can't really see that happening for Neil Robertson. I just feel like Chang is going to be, a very different type of a player there, who you probably would expect to be getting those chances in pretty much every single one of the frames. And then, of course, it will be down to whether he can use them or not. For now, 6 points ahead. Looking to try and put another red and free up the black to be available. both into the right and the left-hand side of the table. So they'll play that shot nicely indeed. And they are just about able to get the cue ball away from the right side cushion at the same time. So once again, not the best positions for him to be lined up with the cue ball, but still should be able to squeeze that one in without further complications. As he has done that, he's now got the block to be available to be heading into the left and the right hand side. And now he's got 3 more reds after he's taken the first one. He's got 3 more reds there to be available to him after already scoring 15. It could be 22 points here after the black has disappeared. So, could be knocking on the door of something like 46 points as soon as he sorts out those 3 reds. And at that stage, of course, still going to be a massive favourite for the first frame, especially if he's able to stay at the table and stay on the break here. Now then, once again, a careful shot on the red. And I thought he might just try and brush the reds from underneath there a little bit, but deciding now is not the time. And probably just setting himself up with an angle on the black on purpose so that he can go around the same red and position himself on the left-hand side of it. Trying to carefully take that red away in towards the right corner. So now 30 points clear. And a good opportunity here for him to go for that red in towards the right-hand side. And then, of course, depending on what he wants to do, as he had a look towards the 3 reds at the bottom of the pack there, may still be looking to try and get the red into the right corner. And at the same time, playing that cue ball to be sent in towards the blue here. Well, I thought he might actually stay on the black there, but he decided that, first of all, of course, he wants to try and remove that red on the right-hand side of the table, but then surely he's got to go for the black there because of the awkward position on the ping, but the way he left himself an angle here on the red, it's very unlikely he goes for the black here, so, I mean, he has surely to be on the position where he's on the left-hand side of the blue, because if he's going to be on the right-hand side of the blue, I mean, he's genuinely going to be looking to try and catch the pink football, which, I mean, it's not really going to give him all the initiative in the world that he's going to be looking for. And in general, it's just going to be a bit of a weird thing for him to be doing. As he now gets himself lined up for the pink now to be taken into the right corner. So play this shot with plenty of topspin, but also plenty of power here. So let's see if he's going to be able to get those reds away from each other. Well, he was. The question is he on the red? The question which is about to get answered now, I'm not sure about it. I think he played that shot pretty well. I have to say, I didn't really consider the pink to be available, but I think there's only 1 red that he can go for into the left corner, but he clearly feels like there is something in there as well to be taken into the right middle. So we're going to have to wait and see whether that will be the case, but yeah, he's just having a good old look to see whether that will be the case. So the referee, meanwhile, trying to sort out the pink on the lower edge of the cue ball here. It will take a little bit of time. And of course, you need to make sure that you place it about as close as you can without it touching the cue ball. A little bit of shaky there on the arm, as you can see on the screen. And that's, I think it's about as close as it would go. Don't really understand what the attempt is all about. I mean, in relation to the cue ball, it's clearly just about as close as he can be. So let's see what's going to happen. I think the referee's going to be happy with this one on that occasion. So, what's the decision then from Chang? Is it just going to be a safety? It would seem so. 43 points on the break, not the worst start to the match, but ultimately not quite being able to do anything when it comes down to clearing those first 6 reds. Certainly helped, but at the same time, you know, he wasn't quite able to get himself over the finish line when it comes down to winning the frame. So then let's see if the cue ball is going to go all the way towards the left side cushion. He needs to play this shot with plenty of power and just try and get the white away from those reds. Well, I mean, was there an attempt of trying to pot the red? And there's your answer. There certainly was. Don't know why that was the case, but in the end, Robertson is going to be the most grateful one about that attempt. And of course now, you will see that red to be very much over the middle. And that position, which Chang was able to improve, is about to come to Robertson's rescue here. So very interesting to see what's going to happen now with Neil Robertson getting the first chance of scoring some good points of himself. Now then, looking at the blue that he's got available, he's still got a lot of work to do. He's got one of the reds to be on the right-hand side there. Robertson plays an interesting shot there. Not sure if he's actually managed to work out the way that he's going to be looking for the next red. Well, I think he's going to have to go for the red into the right corner. I was a little bit surprised that he's gone for the pack of the reds straight away. Felt like he could have gone for a couple of loose reds first, but clearly thinking that he wants to give himself the best possible chance of getting the lineup on the reds. Let's see if that's going to happen here, though. Is he now looking to try and go for the red in towards the right-hand side of the table? So then, plenty of topspin needed here. And he's going to have to try and make the cue balls go a long way around. But also, he needs that red to go in. He has. How's the topspin? It's not too bad. It's not too great. But at the end of it all, he's still going to be on the collar. Although the cue ball is now going to be positioned onto the right side cushion. After he wobbled in the jaws of the green pocket. Now, ideally, of course, he would like to go for the blue, but I don't really see that happening. Unless, of course, the brown is going to be covered up by the yellow. The green has got no angle. So, yeah, it seems to be brown or the blue. If he can get through to the brown, of course, which seems like he can. Playing for the reds on the left-hand side. Lovely taken there on the brown spot. And now just positioning the white to be nicely placed on towards the red here to be taken into the left corner as well. So then 32 points is going to be the difference in between Neil Robertson and Chang Min-yu. And now there is still going to be an opportunity for the red to disappear into the left corner and probably play that cue ball across there towards the black. I think he's very unlikely to try and hold that one, which he's tried to. And he played that shot really, really well. I mean, of course, the problem with trying to play that shot across there would have been the red position on the right-hand side of the black there potentially could get in the way of the cue ball. But if you're able to hold it, you're going to play the shot very nicely indeed. And now, Robertson put himself right back in the action here, being 24 points down. But ultimately, not being too many points down when he comes down to chances to win the frame. As he's got 5 reds ahead of him, make that 4. As he's spotted the first one. And yeah, just looking at a potential chance of trying to play the black in towards the left corner. Getting the cue ball to keep on running around. And placed onto the left side cushion here. He now put himself 27 to 43 points behind. Still a little bit too straight on the red there. And if anything, it's going to be forcing that cue ball to go towards the blue. Potentially towards the pink as well if he wants to. As he uses the entirety of the very generous and wide pockets on the China Open table. And now making sure that he's got a chance of playing the pink in towards the right corner here as the alternative. But I think at the same time, it's going to be quite difficult to say whether he's going to be playing for those 2 reds on the right-hand side. Potentially, of course, could try and bring the other red into the open play. And that's exactly what he's tried. It didn't work out there. So I'm surprised that Robertson is not going to be able to get himself ahead of this position, it would seem. Although he's still going to have a look to see if the red just below the pink will actually pot into the right corner from this position, which, I mean, it could be possible, but at the same time, I think it will be down to a positional shot on the ball collar. It's not going to be an easy thing for him to do, but I'm also not too sure if he can actually get through to the red and try and pop that one away and towards the right-hand side of the table. So then, it's decision time for Robertson. Does he fancy his chances here? Or is he going to have to take his foot off the pedal? Well, he's tried to go for the red. He's missed it and he's put it over the corner pocket. But now, has he got cover on the brown? I think the sweet and short of it is going to be no. So it's very interesting actually because I don't know if Robertson was thinking about that. But I think he's just about okay for Chang to be left with those 3 reds. And greetings again, hoping that Robertson recovers from his previous diabolical performance. Well, not yet, but Chang Min-yu there, having a diabolical performance on the long red. And a very weird opportunity not taken there. So, you know, yeah, I mean, that certainly was a red in the pocket waiting for him to be put away there. And I was already starting to count points that he's going to get. But instead, it will be a Robertson to get attempt number 2 there to try and get even closer towards Chang. And inevitably, in a couple of shots time, get himself ahead when he comes down to points in this frame. Yeah, he's still going to be looking to try and get himself some sort of angle here. And just very carefully positioning the body to try and make sure he's not going to be touching the red on the right side cushion. So, you know, plenty of action on the cue ball as he tries to take that one around the table here of the ball cushion, then the right side cushion, then the left side cushion. And in the end, he gets himself really, really close to those two reds. Just needs one of them to be taken away. And then the second red should be in a lot more better of a position. Although, didn't really want to put that one straight alongside the pink, but should still be alright to try and get in behind of it and through the shot into the right side cushion and play the shot in towards the left part of the table. So then 47 plays 43. And now there is going to be an opportunity to try and get himself pretty straight on the blue there. Whether he wants to try and develop that red from the cushion, I think he'll make the pace judgment a little bit more difficult rather than just being slightly top side of a blue and getting himself through to a chance of trying to remove that red from the side cushion. Meanwhile, he's just trying to carefully take the power away from the cue ball and the red. So now then, 48 plays 43. And an opportunity for him to try and play a shot on the blue. Once again, he decided to try and do that from the cushion. He got a good contact. Now is he going to be on the red? Of course he will be. Brilliant shot there from Robertson. And I tell you what, that long red mistake from Chang does seem like it's going to cost him the frame here. He would have been very much about as comfortable as he could have been for him. But look at this for a shot. Really nice line there on the cue ball as he just about touches the red with a firm contact. And now he's about to carefully take that one away. Stun the cue ball to be in exactly the same position as as the red was actually in relation to the blue. Just about being wrong side of it. So then he can transition all the way into the yellow with no further issues at all. Could still make it the first break of 50 plus there if he makes a total clearance out of it, which of course is still not over the line here yet, but should be the pure formality as he only needs the ball colours and then he's just going to be away of any danger. The yellow and green will put him 21 points clear, whereas there's still going to be 22 at the table. So then Robertson, to be fair, with a really positive start of the first frame. Now let's see if he's going to be able to finish the job off. Wow, just to say that, literally. Was there someone in the crowd distracting him there? But, well, that was... I mean, I want to see that one back. Was there a twitch? Was there someone shouting, someone from the crowd? Well, I was just genuinely not watching this ahead of you. I genuinely was just thinking, well, he still needs to do the job here. And, well, what a miss that is on the green. And now Chang Min-yu has got it all on the plate for him. If he just gets this shot right onto the green and onto the brown. And, well, I mean, that is a horrible shot there from Chang. I mean, what is he doing? He didn't even get close to that one. But I'll tell you what, it is now going to be Robertson there suggesting that someone in the crowd is either distracting him or going to have to be removed entirely. Well, seemed like it's all sorted out. But yeah, I mean, that was absolute, madness. Well, I mean, that's Robertson there clearly unhappy with what's going on. I mean, let's see what's happening out there. I can't really see what's going on. So the staff there, the background staff seem to be distracting Robertson on the shot for the green. Well, I mean, the green... Yeah, Robertson there, still not happy. He asked the referee 3 times to do something about it, but now, well, I mean, I don't know how he missed that green. I don't know how Chang Min-yu missed that green. But Robertson now has got another chance to make it right. Well, he has done it this time. Still needs the brown for the frame to be won there by him, but, I mean, what on earth was happening there? How do you get yourself in a position where you basically have got a frame within 1 ball away from you? Chang Min-yu then had a straightforward rest shot. He wasn't able to take that one away either. And now Robertson, after all that struggle, in the end, he's actually going to be able to, get away with it and get himself a frame on the board there, because now he's going to be 25 points clear, make that 30 with the blue disappearing and into the right middle. So then still having to take the pink away. And then it will be a break of 18 points, which should prove to be enough there for Robertson, unless he wants to try and pot the black as well. which he will. So then the break of 25 points at the end there is going to be enough for Robertson to try and get himself a frame on the board, but I'll tell you what, the circumstances under which he had to do that certainly were far from ideal for him, and now it will be down to Chang Min-yu to try and respond as he leaves himself to be 1-0 down to Neil Robertson, despite of course having the first and ultimately the last chance as well before eventually losing out on that frame over to Neil Robertson. Si Jiahui, by the way, had a really good frame and a really good break of 56 points in the first frame against Jiang John. He now leads his Chinese compatriot by 1 frame to 0 as well. Of course, for now, we are going to see Robertson against Si Jiahui in the second round. But once again, Robertson is still not happy with someone there. Maybe he's just suggesting to try and keep the people away from his eyesight. But, I mean, depending on what they can actually do about him, I'm not too sure. But, you know, you don't often see that from Robertson, where he's actually going to be saying, well, I want them to be removed away from my eye vision because they're genuinely getting in the way of me. So let's see what is actually going to happen. But for now, of course, he will still be down to Neil Robertson to lead 1 frame to 0 there. Very, very close frame. And at the end of it, he was the world number 2 that was able to come out on top. Of course, still looking to try and be the one on the world number 1 spot. You know, there will be a massive opportunity at the end of the Wuhan Open there for him to try and get himself through to the world number 1 as well. Of course, Robertson doesn't really have that many ranking points. You know, Trump had around 60,000 worth of ranking points for the Xi'an Grand Prix to try and defend. Robertson only has about 5,000, so, you know, unless he gets himself eliminated in the first round, he's actually going to be getting closer towards Trump rather than Judd getting further away there. And of course, that is going to be another great bit on his way towards being the world number 1, alongside the likes of Weezer, Zhao Xingtong, and himself, of course, still being in there with a chance of actually taking it all the way and being the world number 1 as well. Now then, we're ready to get the second frame underway. And after all sorts of drama in the first one, let's see if they manage to fix out the issues that Robertson was pointing at. And of course, if Chang Min-yu was able to fix his own issues with missing a long red into the right corner, well, was bad enough. But of course, missing that green was absolutely diabolical because that basically was the frame ball. Apart from that, there were 4 more balls that he had to pot, and you know, they were all in their spots there. So a straightforward colour clearance, which should have been followed by the green, but at the end of it all, that wasn't quite the case. Robertson first frame win for a while, certainly first frame win of the season, and Robertson win. Well, we'll see if that's going to be the case. For now, it is Chang Min-yu to go for a break-off shot here, as he's now still looking at that 43 points, which were the only points that he was able to score there, leading by 43-0, still unable to do anything with Robertson at the end of it, and now will be down to Neil to try and pick up the pieces there from the break-off shot, which doesn't seem to be played a bad spirit there, as Chang Min-yu played that shot pretty well, but I still think Robertson is going to be considering heading towards the right corner, so let's see if that is going to be on his mind. Certainly going to try and get rid of that red. I think he's probably going to try and play a safety of it though. Yeah, he was. I was going to say that was a little bit too clumsy on the aiming. I think that would have been a little bit negligent for him to try and just aim at it twice and then just absolutely smash it there. But clearly, he was just playing for a specific part of that red to be touched there by the cue ball to put it somewhere safe. Now then, Chang Min-yu responds with playing that cue ball across the table and carefully on towards, you know, the cue ball to be sent at the black ball cushion. So now, I mean, it's an interesting position there for Robertson because depending on how close the white is to the black ball cushion, he's going to have to do something here to probably put the cue ball onto the right side cushion there, which is exactly what he was aiming for, but also what he's done. I'm a little bit surprised by that because I still think there is a gap for the red to go into the left corner, which of course being the yellow pocket as well. So let's see if that's going to be the case there for Chang Min-yu. If he fancies his chances, I'll tell you what, this does look like him aiming for the pot here. And he is certainly going to be aiming for the pot now. Is that going to be a massive blunder from Robertson? Well, it was. I mean, how on earth are you going to be happy with conceding a chance like this whatever it was, it's now Chang Min-yu that gets himself a point on the board. It's a really good shot there, but you have to say that wasn't even close. You know, in between the brown and the yellow it went, and now all of a sudden it's a shot on the blue. He's clearly going to try and play this into the pack, and he needs to make sure he's going to keep those reds away from the pocket. And well, has he actually got anything here? Apart from a shot into the yellow pocket, he's played that shot about as well as he could have. Now then, is he going to be able to see that red on the left-hand side of the black? The black is absolutely in the trenches there. And, well, it's a good shot there. Doesn't want the cue ball to drop. Well, that's going to be so unlucky there. I don't know how on earth Chang Min-yu has managed to find a way of the cue ball to be dropped in, but at the end of it all, it will be a ball in hand for Robertson. And, well, after getting so unlucky when it comes down to, you know, the split of the pack was brilliant, but you also got a little bit unfortunate there. But how unfortunate can you be to play a shot like that? Get the minor contact on the reds and find yourself in a position of, you know, somehow squeezing that cue ball along the side cushion and into the left middle. Well, Robertson now surely is going to go for this red into the corner. He needs to make sure now this is the time for him to win the frame. I don't know how he's got in with a chance, but he shouldn't really think about that too much. Although, I'll tell you what, he's put himself right back in the mess again. Didn't play that red as well as he could have. And at the end of it all, that was going to cost him quite dearly. So yeah, I mean, looking at those reds to be potentially available to him, I mean, how many chances is he going to get here to try and get the cue ball on towards the ball cushion? The question here is, where on earth on the table are you going to find a safe spot? You can't see the pink. You can see the black very comfortably, but you can't do anything with the black there. And, well, I mean, he's going to have to go for the top side of the table, but even at the top side of the table, he basically needs to hit them from the top onto the bottom, which makes the free ball very much available there. Unless he wants to try and play a safety shot off of the black to try and find the gap there for the cue ball to be squeezed onto the yellow pocket there, but I don't even think that's going to help him because there's still going to be a red over the right corner, which, you know, if you pass the blue, you're going to be able to put that one as well. So, well, it's a great opportunity here for Chang to try and get himself right back in the action there after that opening mistake. And at the end of it, he's just having a very good look to see and what's going to be happening now around him. But I think ultimately, you are going to be looking at a shot on the black at the end of it all. Well, that's going to be perfect shot. I was going to say that's going to be a foul shot there, but I think he just about managed to find a perfect line there to just about touch the black. And now, he will be back down to Chang Min-yu here. Still got a shot into the yellow pocket, but I think this time around, I'm not sure if he's actually going to be looking to try and go for that shot here. We'll see. He's got the paint to be played for, obviously, but yeah, you feel like it may not actually prove to be the best case scenario there. Of course, if he misses the shot on the red, he's going to be leaving all sorts of chances there away to Neil. So then having a look to see what's going to be happening around the table here, and the red potentially to be available to be taken into the yellow pocket as well. So now then, let's see if he's got a chance of playing through this red. He's got a massive risk on his shoulders though, and being a frame behind, I think he has to refuse the shot, but it's down to him, and he's going to refuse it at the end. So clearly not fancying his chances too much, but still, I mean, I say he's got to refuse a shot. Still got to find the alternative, which is going to be better than taking that risk, and I think he has managed to. I think he has got the blue and the yellow to be the cover for that dangerous red at the right corner. So ultimately, somehow we managed to sort out the position from 2 shots ago there from Neil. Over to a chance where you've got an opportunity here for Neil Robertson and Chang Min-yu, both of them of course, to try and battle their way for the red at the right corner. Of course, anyone that are going to be able to pop there, it's just that particular red. For now, he's going to be the most dangerous red at the table, which there's still going to be plenty of. So now then, Robertson clearly aware of that, trying to go for the contact on that red. And now the question is there going to be a red that goes past the pink in towards the left middle? Because if there is, I don't expect there to be one for long, because I think Chang will go for this shot like this. And he's clearly going to be aiming for that one now. Needs precision, but I tell you what, he's put himself in that window now where he basically needs to have precision every single time they're on the shot. And somehow he misses the pink, but he also misses the, back end jaw of the pocket there. Caught way too much of the front jaw. And now it is going to be all down to Robertson. Not to have the most straightforward of chances, but still, it's a mid-range shot for the Reds into the right corner. And if anything, as much as it's a little bit of a dangerous mindset, but I think getting the position sorted out on the pink or the blue is going to be slightly more difficult than the Reds. But he's played both of those aspects of the shot really, really well there. So 6 points, plays 6. And at the end, he will be down to a chance for Neil Robertson here to try and get himself away from Chang Min-yu. And he comes down to scoring some good points. He's now looking to try position himself on towards the pink here. So play that one carefully well. Get the cue ball to be lined up on the left-hand side of the red. And just position himself with a chance here with 3 colours on the main part of the table there. All to be available when it comes down to them being on their spots there. And also the black to be possible into the left corner. You've got the pink to be possible into the left middle if you get really close to it. But of course he's still going to have to sort out the position of the pink for it to be possible into the left and right corner of the table as well. And for now, there will be an opportunity for the blue to be taken in towards the right middle. And yeah, I think it is probably going to have to be a blue or nothing here. I think he may have actually thought about the pink going through the red and into the right corner, but at the end, I don't think he needs to be taking a risk like that because the position is absolutely wonderful for him and he needs to make sure he gets absolutely the most out of it. For now then, it's a good shot on the blue, trying to get that cue ball as close as it possibly can be in relation to those reds. A little bit wide on the angle, which he doesn't really need there. But of course now, this is going to be the red that he must remove as soon as possible, because that one will free up the pink to be available to the right corner. And he didn't want to contact on the red, and he's played that shot once again superbly well there. Whatever you say about the positional success for Neil Robertson, he's been certainly way above the average for him when you compare it to the Shanghai Masters. And now he has put himself right in that window of trying to get away here from Chang Min-yu, but ultimately put himself right back in the mix with, potentially having a very confident scoreline on the board, which I said was not going to be possible. I think Chang Min-yu was always going to have the chances in every single one of the frames, and so far proved out to be true. But I did also say it will depend massively, the result, on how many of those chances he's actually going to be able to take. As Robertson there follows the path of Ronnie, drops his chalk on the floor, but ultimately he's now going to be accelerating away to 26 points on the break, 25 of the advantage, and still having plenty more reds to try and make his way through, as he's still, a long way to go there, but could still be looking at a century break on the end of a frame. That's how well the Reds are actually positioned there in my point of view. So let's see if he's going to have the same sort of mindset when it comes down to the end point of the frame as well. Now they're looking very carefully at the blue to be taken into the left corner. So play that shot with very little backspin there, just try and hold the cue ball to be just about clear of the black ball spot there, so that he's not going to be sort of impeded by the black there. Now then, a chance for that red just to be played through there. I think he's got the slightest of angles, and then he can easily try and make his way through those reds at the bottom part of the table there, because they shouldn't really be an issue. One of them, I think, is far enough from the pocket, and the other one is certainly going to be close enough to the, far enough from the jaw, and the black ball cushion, I mean, of course. And the other one is way too close to the actual corner pocket there for it to be considered an issue. As he now goes and puts another black there. So then he is going to be very much approaching on break of 50 plus there. He was doing that in the previous frame before eventually missing out on that green in towards his own pocket. But here, he's got a better chance to try and get the black into the corner. Carefully takes the pace away from the black there. The table doesn't seem to be having massive signs of fade that we have seen yesterday, and now it will be a break of 50 points exactly there for Robertson. And yeah, of course, still only seeing one of those breaks there from Chang Min-yu there to be above the threshold minimum of 16 points out there 43 in the previous frame. And ever since that point, just unable to score any other points pretty much because, he's had a red and a blue combination, but that was pretty much it there for him. Scoring 6 points, which was never going to win him the frame there. And a break of Neil Robertson of 58 points and counting. He's about to win him the frame here. He only needs this red into the left middle as he carefully takes that one away, aims towards the left middle pocket, and it's now going to be all down to 58 points of a gap, 51 at the table, and ultimately now Chang Min-yu does find himself in a position of being 2-0 down, and ultimately being, with a mountain to climb there when it comes down to trying to overcome the deficit and to find himself to be the winner of the match. You're going to have a look how Si Xiaowei is doing on the other table, but from what we've seen in the first frame, we could well see Robertson against Si Xiaowei in the second round of the China Open, which will make another great lineup of the top 16 players. And not actually too many of them, I should say. Only Murphy and Xiao Guilun have been the pairings that have both been able to get past the first round, and now they're going to meet each other. Now then, the chance for Robertson to get himself through onto a century break here. As I said previously, he had a really good position there, but that's why Chang Min-yu had to be extra careful playing his type of shots, and that's why he had to be, doing a little bit better on the shot that he's taking in towards the left middle, and rattling in the front jaw didn't really help his case. And now it will be down to Robertson. Unable to make a century break on this occasion, but still, we've seen 41 minutes of action play, and now we're going to see Neil Robertson to get away from Chang Min-yu there and lead the Chinese player by 2 frames to 0. So then, all to play for in the remaining 4 frames that Robertson will need, but of course Chang Min-yu still needs to get himself on the score sheet. For now, he hasn't really done too well to try and get that over the board, but still putting himself right back in the mix there to try and potentially find himself within that window where he's still going to be able to respond, although now I think his chances have been quite badly damaged there when it comes down to trying to overcome Neil Robertson in quite a confident fashion. By the way, Si Xiaowei with another really good performance at the second frame. He just ended his performance in the frame number 2 out there with a break of 38 points being the highest, but that certainly is going to be enough there as he now leads Jiang Jun by 2 frames to 0. So then, both of the top seeded players for now are having a very confident line when it comes down to winning their respective matches, but I also think it will be down to a decent opportunity for both Chang Min-yu and also Neil Robertson to try and get themselves a little bit, with more of a rhythm, you have to say. I think it will be down to an opportunity for Chang later on in the third frame, and we've seen that time and time again. He's had a chance in every single one of them, but it's just down to just one more shot that you feel like, and it's always going to be one more shot that you need in snooker, but he was just not clinical enough and a little bit wasteful with his own opportunities sometimes, and that's exactly why Robertson being not quite perfect with his own style of a game, but clearly being a lot better than anything that we've seen from Chang Min-yu so far. And now it will be all down to him to be very much the man here to try and stop Chang Min-yu from running away with it. So now we're ready to get the third frame underway. It'll be a break off from Neil Robertson, and for now, he's had 2 very interesting frames out there, one more comfortable than the other, with the second one, of course, being very much a one-break wonder there, with breaks of 72 points, and of course 34 in the first frame, I think it was, being enough there for him to try and get himself ahead. But how misleading of a story is that? 86 to 43 there when it comes down to the points, but of course if Chang Min-yu pots that green, could easily win the frame there. But anyway, let's try and move past that. If you're Chang Min-yu, you're going to try and build on that. If you're Neil Robertson, he's going to try and use that as a positive momentum for him, as he now sees the cue ball to be sent towards the right-hand side of the reds. Still in there with an opportunity there, Chang, but going to have to wait and see if he's going to stay with that opportunity for much longer. For now, there is going to be a window which is going to be available for him here. Trying to play a shot off the reds. And, trying to get past the brown as well without touching it, hopefully. Potentially getting in behind the green. Didn't really work, but still playing good enough safety there not to leave a chance away to Robertson. So then, an opportunity for Neil to try and play the shot of the cue ball from the bunch of the reds on right below the pink actually, but seems to have caught that on a little bit too much pace. Let's see if he's going to be finding himself right in behind the brown. He will be. Well, I said a little bit too much pace, but always, of course, the way for you to try and prove that one wrong is getting right in behind the brown there. He's not quite perfectly in behind the brown, but still, he's going to be a snooker. And it's certainly going to be a shot which will force Chang Min-yu to be taking a left side cushion, I should say, into the equation. Well, I mean, I think he's tried to hit that one with just one cushion escape. That's not really going to work, and I think Robertson is going to give it back to him straight away. And I think he needs to be going way more to the left there, bounce off the blackball cushion, just to make sure that he's not really going to be risking of... I mean, I suppose he could try and stay on the same line there, because if you're going to be playing from underneath it, there is enough room for the cue ball to go around the red. That's exactly something that you want to avoid there. Pretty much the only thing that can go wrong for him is getting... Well, he's going to have to be playing this shot again. I don't think Robertson is going to take the position from him, and he won't. So then another foul there from Chang Min-yu. Yeah, he just needs to be injecting a little bit more pace there, but I think he is also drifting a little bit to the left or right there, and he needs to be playing the shot a lot more to the center of the red. Otherwise, he's going to be risking of just having a very thin touch, and therefore allowing the red to be available into the right corner or the left side of it. Well, now he seems to have played that shot pretty well. More power and ultimately a better line this time around, as now it will be all down to Robertson to get himself back towards the table. Now, there's still an opportunity here to be taken with the red potentially to be available into the yellow pocket if he wants to try and take the effort. I think he's got a 2-0 lead. I think he can afford to be doing that. But I think he's going to be... Well, it's interesting to see. Is he playing the shot in towards the yellow pocket? He is. And you can see he's played that shot really well as well. Robertson seems like he's on fire out there when it comes down to playing shots under real pressure, because it's not like he would not have been leaving anything away to Chang Min-yu. There certainly would have been an opportunity on top of that red, of course, which he could have easily left over the pocket. And now there will be a shot at the blue that he has, trying to get that cue ball away and onto the right-hand side of the table. Position himself on the right-hand side of the red, taken into the left corner. Now then, a really good opportunity to try and get himself quite far ahead in the third frame as well. And yeah, he certainly could turn this one into a bit of a one-sided matchup, which what he has been so far in the last frame and a half, I would say. Now then, having a look at the pink to be potentially available for him. Well, I'm not too sure if he's going to be able to sort of find the angle that will allow him to get rid of those two reds away from each other. But, I mean, that's certainly something that he needs to work on for the next couple of shots. But I think he's got the reds in the line of the four reds. The third one from the top, the third one from the bottom, I should say, may actually be possible into the left corner. But I mean, he's actually thinking about playing the shot with backspin and leaving himself with the red in towards the right corner, which is another good thing when it comes down to potting the red. But where are you going to find the next colour from is going to be my question. I mean, I felt like he's just about managed to do enough of a job there to allow himself to play that shot with plenty of side spin, get the cue ball to be sort of going past the pink, and therefore just allowing himself to be within that window of trying to position it all the way down to, of course, the pink being out of play there for a while. Unless you're going to be looking at the right corner, potentially, you may actually be able to pop the pink there, but I don't think that's going to be relevant to this particular scenario. Because now there is going to be a red potentially available at the right part of the table. Now then, there is an opportunity here for Robertson. 21 points is the lead. He still needs this red in. And as much as the position is quite good for him, he still needs to try and have a couple more tweaks there before he's going to be out in the free zone. Chang certainly is a good potter. Question is, can he get his chances against a very experienced Robertson? Well, so far, the answer is no. He didn't really get a chance in this frame, but you also have to say Robertson had the only opportunity with a really difficult long red into the yellow pocket and was able to take that one away. Now, 22 points later, he does find himself in a very comfortable lead, and Yeah, still looking at a potential chance of playing a shot at the blue. Well, I'm not sure what he was trying to achieve there. I mean, yeah, to be fair, the bottom line is I'm not sure what he was trying to achieve there, because I think he was playing for the lowest of the reds. He might have still underplayed for that one, but if he was playing for the reds into the middle, in the middle of the pack there, then I still think he's absolutely overrun these ones by a mile. So, I mean, I think you might have a shot into the left middle here, but surely that's going to be one shot too many for him to be taken. I mean, he's still thinking about playing the black into the right corner, which does suggest to me that he might actually see enough of that red to be taken in towards the left corner of the table. But yeah, I'm not sure he's actually going to be playing anything here of an aggressive approach, which is disappointing there. Of course, he will be very disappointing for him as well. 27 points, scoring only 19 of them on the break. And the other 8, of course, came from foul shots. He's going to have to play a safety now. So still Robertson not quite able to make that work of that position, to be very much putting him in that equation of having the frame won by the time that Chang is going to return back towards the table here. But still playing a decent safety shot, and now allowing himself to be within that window of trying to separate the reds away from each other, and ultimately play the shot which hopefully for him would allow the cue ball to go all the way towards the brown. And a very careful shot there when it comes down to the approach, and at the end I don't think he played that one badly. So then back down to the cue ball, and a chance for the Reds. Well, I mean, I have to say, from the safety point of view, is it going to be worth for him to be looking at the long raider here, actually, because where are you going to find a decent enough safety for you? I mean, you can try and go for the cross double on the red, the closest to the left side cushion, but I don't think the angle is going to be there for him. So, yeah, I wouldn't actually be surprised if he decides to go for the red in towards the right corner, but at the same time, where on earth are you going to find the colour from? And going for that red just simply for the sake of it is going to be a very stupid thing to do as well. So I think at the end of it, you may have to go for the red, which is the lowest of them all, and play it off the right hand side of that red, and just try and squeeze that cue ball through the gap in between the red closest to the right side cushion, the one that I suggested to play a cross double from, but also the right side cushion itself. Because I think that way, it may be the only chance that Robertson will get to try and put himself somewhat safe there when he comes down to the cue ball placement. I think that's exactly the shot that he's about to take on here. It's very risky though, and he's trying to take that shot with 2 cushions. Well, I mean, I'm not necessarily going to say that that was the reason why I didn't want to take it from 2 cushions, but I mean, he has put the red to be over the left corner, but ultimately, he's also managed to get the cover onto the yellow here. So, it's back down to Chang here to have the chance of his own to go for a long red into the right corner. I mean, he can't see the one onto the left part of the table, so that probably will suggest you will need to go for the red into the right corner there, because he can't afford to be leaving that red away, which means either he's got to play a perfect safety shot, or he needs to play a defending shot there of just trying to pot that red away into the corner. And now the cue ball seems to be heading quite close towards the green pocket, but he will stay out there at the table. So now the question has to be put to, is there going to be a chance for Robertson to try and pot the red into the left corner, or is it going to be all down to a chance on the cue ball to be accelerating away there and racing from the other red? But once again, I mean, he's refusing the shot there. Whether he can't see the red or not, he can't really tell from that particular angle, but he may just have to find himself in a position of waiting for a better opportunity when it comes down to a colour choice, because you can pot the red, but where you're going to be able to actually find the colour from, it is still going to be down to plenty more breaks there from Robertson when he comes down to the comparison with Chang. And of course, for him to be the first player to score any points with that break of 43 points, he'll be disappointed not to have scored ever since. But this time around, he's got a brilliant long red that he's taken into the left part of the table. And now it's a brilliant opportunity that he has seen himself with to try and go for a shot of the brown. And of course, he can also choose the colours of the bulk in between the yellow, the brown or the green as well, for him to try and make a decision on. for now then. Yeah, just looking at the potential chance of playing the shot into the yellow. I mean, that certainly would have helped if he found himself in a position where he would leave it down to a shot in towards the right middle to play, but I think it will also be a little bit difficult for him to try and get that cue ball to be accelerating away onto the left side cushion, which at the same time, you could also put it down to being potentially his only chance here of getting through towards the Reds, but was it a little bit of a too difficult of a shot to be taken on? He will be disappointed there because he put the cue ball right into that zone where the Reds were, but in the end, he wasn't able to take that yellow away. And now, Neil Robertson is going to find himself 26 points clear, but ultimately, he's also going to find himself in that window where he's got a great opportunity of trying to pot the Reds away from each other, and at the same time, I think he's got a really nice line of trying to go for the Reds in towards the right corner out there. So playing that shot carefully well, making sure he's got an opportunity of playing the black away in towards the left corner, and I think if he just puts the black somewhere near the black ball spot there, he should have a really good chance of playing for the Reds, but well, he misplaced that one, I think. He was trying to use the yellow as a bit of a cover there to stop the cue ball from getting too far away from those Reds. And at the end of it, he may have actually stopped the break there from any sort of continuation. Let's see if he's still going to try and make one of those Reds to go into the corner. He's going to have to. And he's played that shot really, really well when it comes down to potting the Reds. But another factor, of course, you have to take into account is that is he actually going to be on the yellow? Played a really good shot on the previous Red, but now, you know, the question is that shot going to be good enough for him? Or is he going to have to just settle for one extra point that he has scored and 8 extra points that Chang is not going to be able to score during this particular frame? Now then, Robertson having a good look to see what's going to be happening with the shot onto the yellow, but I think ultimately it will come down to a topspin shot here, trying to get it away from the black ball cushion and ultimately just try and put himself outside of the window. Well, he's put himself outside of the window for trying to take the breakaway now, because it's now 35 points, which is the lead, but still unable to go for that yellow and pot it into the corner. He's going to put Chang Min-yu right back in the action there. 35 points being the lead and 99 points being at the table. Not too many Reds where you can actually spot there, which are going to be an issue for him, but he's still going to have to play some really good shots at the starting point of a break because of not being able to use the black or the pink at this time of asking. So I think he might have to try and play the shot into the green pocket, which, I mean, once again, just being that centimetre or so short when it comes down to the positional play there to be sorted out. Now then, a careful shot on the blue needs to try and position that cue ball off the right side cushion all the way down the table, but I think he played that one quite well. He only just about managed to pot the blue, but at the same time, he will be down to a shot on the red, which he's given himself a chance of to try and pot the red into the left corner, position himself for a shot onto the pink as well, if he wants to try and separate the reds away from the pink, or alternatively, he can try and play for the blue because he can afford to for now. Even if he is going to be out of position on the blue, as long as he's not going to be too straight, he would always give him a chance to position the cue ball for the top side of the table, where there's going to be a red pretty much over the yellow pocket there waiting for him to be put away. As now he played that one a little bit too close to the side cushion. May have to reconsider the red that he's actually going to try and pot right now, but at the same time, I think he'll probably be put down to a decent opportunity of taking that red away, getting himself within that window of trying to go for the reds in towards the right corner, and depending on if he's going to be able to go for a shot on the blue, he might not struggle actually to get himself in the next colour, but I think at this time of asking, he's actually going to have to go for the red closer to the left corner and just try and accelerate the cue ball away from that red so that he puts himself in that window of still being on the blue there. Even if it's going to be the wrong side of it, I still think it might just about be enough there for him to try and put enough distance there in between the cue ball and that red. Well, I think that probably was the thing that he was scared of, just trying to catch the black a little bit too much sideways on, and in the end the cue ball was the one that had to put the handbrake on, and now he will be just down to 13 points on the break. Well, massive decision here to be made, whether you want to go for the pink or not. You're going to have to find a a safe place for the cue ball, which I suppose with him being on the colour, he probably is not going to be so much of an issue for him, but at the same time, I think he'll probably be put down to a chance on the ping that he can take, but I mean, it would remind you badly of the shot that he missed in the second frame, which cost him the frame actually, because that was the last shot that he's played before that break of 72 points from Neil Robertson. So then, well, it's a decision for him to make, but ultimately I think the longer that he takes on the shot, the less of a chance and less of a right that he has of actually take that one on there for him. And I think he's about to make the right decision, just playing that shot off the pink in a way which will place the cue ball to be nicely lined up for the black ball cushion and just put himself within that window of trying to go for a shot in towards the left part of the table. But he's under run for the pink, which of course is going to be a foul shot of 6 points. He would have called the pink, and now he will be down to 6 points to be given away there for Neil Robertson. So now let's see what a decision from Neil's point is going to be, whether he's going to try and put Chang in exactly the previous position there, or whether he does feel like it's not really going to be something that will make too much of a sense there for him. Now I think he's going to have to put this one back there, and still, I mean, it's a little bit of a weird time of asking there from Neil, because I don't really see Chang missing this one again, but at the same time, he could certainly do there, Robertson, with a couple of extra foul points that he's going to receive. So far being 18-0. Not in favour of Chang Min-yu, because of course he was the one that missed the contact on the red 3 times there, when he comes down 2 times, I should say. One of them was the cue ball to be dropped into the left middle, after he was super unfortunate in the second frame. And then of course he was also down to the shot that he just missed on the pink, just avoiding that contact and not quite being able to get the cue ball to be connecting with the pink. So now he's going to have to switch the options up there. But the question is, what is he going to be able to do with that red away and into the yellow pocket? Is he going to just try and get that red away from the corner of the table? Well, he's just trying to get that cue ball around it, but I'm not sure he's done a decent enough of a job there, because he sort of placed the cue ball to be right in behind him, that red, and now there will certainly be an opportunity here for Robertson to try and consider taking that red on in towards the right corner. Whether that one will go past the blue or not, it certainly does remain to be seen, but at the same time, I think you're going to have to just settle for an opportunity. And, well, it seems like he's going to be happy with the way he's hit that red away, and he's certainly going to find the back of the pocket there. Once again, a really good long shot there from Neil Robertson, and now he does find himself in the position of still being on the green for sure. I'm not quite so confident he's going to be on the black there, although I think he's going to be looking for that one, because the black, of course, will have the angle to try and get the cue ball across the table and just put himself within that window of being right next towards those reds, and ultimately just putting himself into an opportunity there to try and take the black away in towards the left middle, and he has done so. Now, just doesn't want to have a red on his way there, but to be fair, he's going to have another option of going for the red in towards the right middle anyway, especially since the black is about to be respotted and get exactly in the way of the red, which I provisionally thought was the one that Robertson was playing for. So then, a break of only 8 points, but at the same time, still could be the break, which wins him the 3rd frame on the bounce, and after an hour of the action, he could put him right back in the mix there, of being halfway there. And when he comes down to being whitewashed 6-0 against Zhao Xingtong in the Shanghai Masters, you never quite know. It may be the perfect revenge unloading, because you've got an opportunity here of trying to play this shot away off the ball cushion and get that cue ball to be lined up closer towards those reds at the left part of the table. Now then, 42 points is going to be the lead here for Neil Robertson. So now he's still looking at a potential window for him to try and explore when it comes down to a red to be taken into the left corner. Whether that's going to be the place for him to try and get that cue ball lined up for the ping, but of course he only needs 2 more reds there, and then he's going to be getting this frame out of the way there, as he now pots the red away nicely, positions himself with a nice position of trying to go for the pink into the right corner, and now 43 points is the lead. So as I say, he'll now be 49 points after the pink, so only needs 1 more red after it, as he now taking the pink very nicely indeed. So let's see where that colour is about to be respotted, but even if he's going to be getting in the way of the white, he's got another red closer towards the right side cushion, which he should be able to use as a nice little buffer point for him at the frame ball. Well, he was expecting there, Robertson, clearly, to go for the reds on towards the right corner, the one closest to the pink spot, but that's not going to be out of the equation. And at the same time, it will be down to the red closest to the right side cushion for him to be taking on. Just very carefully trying to cut that one into towards the corner pocket, and now it will be down to Chang Min-yu to have had the chances in every single one of those frames, but at the end of it, the scoreline, he's going to be probably representing of what happened now there. And what happened is him not being able to utilise any of his chances, and Robertson, despite still only have won the frame once there at the single visit to the table with that break of 72 points. Apart from that, he's still been very consistent when it comes down to running himself out of position. Doesn't really mean that you're going to leave a chance away to your opponent, and always knowing when to step back there or when to try and keep your foot on the pedal has certainly been the reason why Robertson will find himself in that position of being 3-0 clear, but also now 64 points clear in this particular frame, and making it a bit of an annihilation there. 241 there of total points that Robertson has scored even before the end of the frame, and 63 is going to be the maximum that Chang Min-yu is going to be able to manage, as the cue ball now is going to find his way off the blue there. So the first foul points off Neil Robertson as well. He will be down to 36 points on the break, and it will be down to, the break to be ending at that particular occasion. So then it is now the points of Neil Robertson to have ended the frame, and have ended the break there with 36 points exactly, as he now got a lead against Chang Min-yu of 3 frames to 0. So still put himself right back in the mix there of trying to end the match quite quickly there for him, but at the same time, you do have to ask the question, where is the Chang Min-yu that we've seen time and time again in the qualifiers, whether it will be down to this season or even the last season where, we've seen him play some great snooker, and yes, you could say qualifiers are qualifiers, but this is the top 16 player we're talking about, which is true, as by the way, we're going to have Xijiahui to take a 3-0 lead against Jiang as well. For now, it is Zheng that has got the chance of scoring 23 points in the 4th frame, with the highest break being 45 points out there from Xijiahui's point of view. So then there's a chance for Zheng to try and go for the green in towards the left middle. So he's gone for that one, and now it will be down to Xijiahui still to lead by 3 frames to 0, exactly the same scoreline as we're going to get here as well. But I think ultimately, from Robertson's point of view, I think you have to give him the credit that he deserves. I think he played the match really well so far. And I think he's put himself right back in that window where, no matter what he does right now, he's obviously going to be the favourite until, the sort of frame number 6 is going to end there, because he's still going to be ahead before that point, even if he loses those 3 frames, which, from the inconsistency of Chang Min-yu, is probably something that is very unlikely to happen here, but, of course, he's capable of trying to make that work when it comes down to only having a 3-0 of a deficit to try and overcome. There's Robertson there, seemingly ready to go for a break-off shot, but of course, forgetting that he's going to have Chang Min-yu to be the one, which is going to have his turn right now to go for the first shot of the frame. But yeah, very, very surprising to see Robertson being within that window of 3-0 of the gap there, and now putting himself right into the window as well of trying to go for those type of shots, making sure that he's got the opportunity ahead of him, and ultimately just scoring enough points there when it matters, even though he's not going to have a century on the board. And you could see breaks of 27, 34 and 36 and 72, not necessarily the highest breaks that you can possibly imagine in the first 3 frames, but at the same time, as you can see on the scoreboard, and as you can see with the points that Chang Min-yu was able to score, still stuck on that break of 43 points, because that's the only one which has actually seen him to qualify for, seeing more than 16 points to be scored at the single visit to the table. Now then, a very careful shot of the red, making sure that he's putting himself right back in the mix there of trying to play the red away to the top side of the table, not allowing too many chances there over to Chang Min-yu. Now then, still has put himself right back in the window of trying to go for the reds, to be, for the reds I should say, to be spread away from each other, but ultimately, and a lot more importantly, He has managed to pot the cue ball to be in the position of trying to go for the red in towards the left side cushion. So then playing a shot with plenty of topspin, still allowing himself to go for the chance of seeing the red there for Chang Min-yu. So not sure whether that was the plan that he was trying to initiate there, but Robertson seemingly couldn't quite initiate it so much of the pace there that he needed on the white. So let's see if that red is going to be visible, because if it is, certainly going to try and play a safety shot out of it, but may actually be able to squeeze an attacking shot out of it as well. Now then, just carefully trying to get that red to be doubled into the left middle. Well, that's certainly going to be a shot and a half there. Probably inspired by Matthew Selt and what he's done after being 5-0 behind. Now, Chang Min-yu was 3-0 behind, but certainly going to get himself a very interesting position indeed when it comes down to trying to win this frame on the first chance of asking. Now, positioning himself for a shot of the black there to be taken in towards the left corner. He's still got a really nice position up ahead of himself. So let's see if he's going to be able to score some really good points out there and, potentially to end the first mini session on a high there for him. Whether that's going to be the case or not remains to be seen, but at the same time, probably have to put it down to, Robertson allowing that shot to be taken probably wasn't something that, was going to be considered a potential dangerous thing there, but at the same time, he clearly could see enough of it to try and cut it into the right middle. He decided not to be doing that because of, the risk of leaving that one on there for Robertson, as probably has been the case throughout majority of the ways that Robertson has been scoring his own points. It's not really been down to just the long-range shots there or forcing a brilliant safety. It's been down to those mistakes from Chang Min-yu. But at this time of asking, it was a brilliant shot there rather than a mistake. And now he's got another red as an opportunity there to be taking a shot in towards the left corner. Well, doesn't seem like he's going to be happy with the way he's played the previous shot there, because even though he's still got a shot at the pink here, but I'm not sure if he's actually going to be putting himself within that window of trying to get that cue ball to be working his way around the right side cushion. It's the only way that he can do about it. And now it needs the white to keep on running, and it's not going to. So it's going to be very awkward to say the least there for Chang to try and go for that red, even if the pink is not going to be getting in the way there, which he will. So it doesn't seem like that was going to be a factor anyway. So even if Chang played that shot about as well as he could have, it still would have been down to the pink to be getting in the way. And now he will be very much down to a safety shot there for him to be played, it would seem. There's now the referee once again trying to sort out the position of the pink here when it comes down to for it to be right in the mix of those reds. And still looking to try and go for the gap there of Chang Min-yu. I mean, I think he's going to have to go for a shot on the right-hand side of those reds. Just carefully play that cue ball away. Make sure he's got plenty of action on the side cushion there. And carefully place that cue ball to be somewhere around, in behind the yellow there. Although potentially, of course, he still might put himself right back in the equation when he comes down to 20 points to be scored there so far. Apart from the first frame, whenever you score 20 plus points, it always seems to be enough there for you to win the frame. But of course, 43 points, the second highest break in the entire match there, wasn't quite there enough for Chang Min-yu in the first frame, despite having multiple chances to try and expand on that, as Robertson there gets a little bit fortunate. I mean, he was never going to leave any reds available to Chang Min-yu, but still, catching the blue on his way up the table was not really part of his plans. And now Chang is probably going to be looking at potentially trying to get one of those reds towards the left-hand side of the table. Didn't really want to bring one of them too much into the open play, but as he played a really nice safety shot in behind the yellow, he's now going to put himself into a very safe position indeed. So then Robertson, with a really good opportunity here to try and play the shot away from, probably the left side cushion. I don't think there is going to be too much of a risk for him if he's going to try and go for the main pack of the reds. He could always go for the reds onto the right side cushion as well, but I feel like with those ones, he could always be just freeing up a bit too much of a gap there for the cue ball to see the red to be potted into the left corner. So I'm not sure about that being the case there, of course, but at the same time, it would also be down to an opportunity there for Robertson to played that shot away from the left side cushion. And I don't actually think he's considering those 3 reds on the left-hand side of the pack there. So, clearly having his eyes full off the shot on the right-hand side of the table, which, I mean, is not an easy thing to execute. I think he's going to be looking for those 2 reds just below the paint there, if he is going to try and go off the right side cushion there. But I just don't think it's an easy shot for you to play. Could easily catch the pink and therefore free up one of those reds to be heading towards the left middle. So, with 90 seconds taken on the shot, let's see what will Robertson's decision going to be at the end. And, well, I don't think it wasn't a bad one in terms of the idea. I think the execution was a little bit off there. And he's going to have to be very precise there in the referee respotting the cue ball. But ultimately, into a position of Robertson not quite, hitting the same mark there. Way more to the left there, Robertson suggests. So then, of course, he needs the cue ball to be respotted exactly as he was. And now just having a look at it, so seemingly happy about it this time around. So then, back to him it goes. So 24 points down right now. But still, of course, he needs to be absolutely spot on when it comes down to catching a very thin side of that red. And once again, just like he was on the previous time of asking, he's going to be a little bit short there. So 8 points given away now to Chang on 2 of those occasions. And yeah, he's going to have a 10 number 3. I don't think there is going to be any sort of warning there. I don't think you can see any one of those reds. So he will be closer towards, just trying to get himself out of that position. No warning to be given away to the Australian. Now then, attempt number 3. He seems to have been very close on the previous 2 occasions, and he's going to be very close on the 3rd occasion as well. C goes for consistency there, as you can see. Robertson there, smiling about it. Well, if at first you don't succeed, try again. It's exactly something that Robertson is thinking about right now. 12 points to be given away there to Chang Min-yu. Is pretty much going to be the equivalent of the 3rd highest break there that Chang has managed so far in the match there in the first 3.5 frames. Now then, let's see if Robertson is going to be able to get this one around. So then, very carefully trying to make the contact with those reds, and this time around he was able to do so. So then, from the 4th time of asking, he was able to execute that one away. And now, Robertson clearly finding himself in a pretty decent mood there when he comes down to returning to the table and still, having the chance to himself there, because Chang Min-yu clearly, he's not going to have an opportunity of potting the red directly. He may go for a double if he wants to, but I'll tell you what, he should have gone for a little bit more pace on the cue ball to me. And, well, he might have just about saved the day there with the last gasp of pace on the white, but still, there could be a chance here for Robertson to try and pot the red away in towards the left corner. Therefore, get himself around the black there and position himself on the right-hand side of the most expensive of the colours. Well, he's not going to be on the right-hand side of it, but with a little flick towards the reds and a brilliant long shot that he's taken, it was all down to that moment of brilliance there from Robertson. And once again, Chang there just not putting the cue ball close enough towards the bowl cushion. Well, it seems to have cost him dearly. Let's see if the black is going to disappear, and it will. Now then, an opportunity for Robertson to try and make things right there once again. 8 points on the break. Still looking to try and take that red away in towards the right part of the table. And looking to try and put himself, some points ahead there, despite being 32 points down when he came back to the table there. I always said he was going to have the chance after, being happy to concede 12 points, but ultimately not happy to give a chance away. And that was always going to be the right mindset when it comes down to a professional snooker player. Even if you give away 40 points, it's still going to be better to do that rather than leave an easy chance away to your opponent, because not only are you going to be able to lose more than 40 points, but then, of course, the more that your opponent is able to score, the less points they're going to be left for you to try and catch up with him. That's exactly why final points are always going to be less worthy than a chance and an opportunity given away there, especially given the standard of the snooker that has been going through the roof quite recently. Now the total points, with Chang being able to score 32 during this particular frame, now we're going to see Robertson to score exactly the same number with 32 plays 32. So no one is going to have any sort of a lead right now, but ultimately Robertson is going to be the player at the table, and despite having still a huge shell of reds, of 5 of them to be precise, alongside each other and alongside the pink, he's now managed to disrupt that shot a little bit, and now there will be a single point advantage there for Robertson. So still looking for a potential chance to see the pink to be heading in towards the right corner, and as he plays that shot, I think there is going to be plenty of room there for him to try and get himself lined up for the red to be taken into the left-hand side of the table there. So, going to have to wait and see if that's going to happen. But alternatively, of course, you're still going to be looking at the shot of the red taken very carefully in towards the left-hand side of the table. It wasn't an easy pink. He had to bridge over the blue, which makes it a very important positional shot that he's got under control as well. I mean, it depends if that red of the 4-pack is still going to go into the corner, which doesn't seem like it will. So Robertson, once again, is going to have to try and bridge over the red into the left corner if he wants to take that red away. But alternatively, of course, he's got a shot into the middle. But, I mean, yeah, he's sort of caught himself in the mind there of 3 reds, one of them seemingly not being available. Although he's going to go for it now, which, you know, probably puts it down to the question of why have all that discussion if you have the easiest reds available anyway. Now then, put another red onto the safe side cushion, and that's going to be a great advantage for him, because he should be able to get himself more than 35 points ahead before he reaches that red away, and therefore put himself right back into full control there when it comes down to having the scoreline of 4 frames to 4, 4 frames to 0 still to play for. He's going to be able to score something like 25 more points. Now then, taking the pink away, just about misses the contact on the, what's it called? On the jaws of the yellow pocket, but at the same time, catching the jaw of the middle pocket didn't really help his case, and now he'll be all down to 14 points of the advantage, and, well, a potential opportunity here for the red to be taken in towards the right corner as well. I think he's got the line to get that cue ball through the needle's worth of the gap there in between the other 2 reds. Whether he wants to try and take the pace away from the cue ball completely, well, they'll make that room even more narrow for him, because at the same time, it would make it very awkward for him to judge the pace just about as well, which will allow him to go for that shot on the black there. So, of course, Chang at this stage will need all of the 6 reds that he's got available to him, but at the same time, I still think Robertson wouldn't really want to allow him to get back to the table there, despite, of course, being 32 points down when he came back to the table. It's a really good shot on the red, and, well, unless he's going to have one of those reds to go over the corner pocket, which he will, I think that might have just cost him a shot on the pink, but he's still going to have a shot on the green there, with not too many worries about the positional shot on the red, which of course is now going to be over the corner pocket waiting for him. So it's one of those times that where you only need the colour, you don't need the position, and I think that's exactly why you're going to have a chance to be going for a shot on the green. Therefore, just very carefully playing the shot with back. Well, he's still trying to get some backspin on it to get the cue ball a little bit closer towards that red, which of course he still needs to be pretty careful about. Potentially looking to try and go for that contact point on the red, while still getting himself into that position sorted out with the next colour or so. So then another break of 50 plus there, the second of the match. Both of them to have been made by Neil Robertson, and both of them have been made in the even frames there, in frames number 2 and 4. The first one was ended with a break of 72 points after he was quite unable to make it a century break, which seemed like that was certainly going to be on the line for him, after not being able to take that red away along the side cushion and into the right corner. So the 19 points of a lead, and potentially still looking for a chance here to go for the pink in towards the left mid. I think he's going to get himself out of the, easy red zone for now. Although, just as I say that, he decided to find an angle on the cue ball to try and play a shot on the red in towards the left part of the table here. Therefore, he puts himself right back in the mix of the reds. Let's see if he's going to have the angle to try and play the black in towards the left corner. As for now, it is 26 points is the advantage for him. And he will still need 2 more reds there before he can head to the intermission with a 5-star performance, and absolutely no chance for Chang to be feeling himself as the favourite there until probably the end point of the 9th frame, I would say, because unless he's going to be able to win 5 frames with a bounce, it's Robertson that will have the momentum and ultimately will have the experience of trying to get himself over the finish line quite consistently out there as well, as he now gets another red in towards the left corner. Now puts himself into that window of putting the black away into the left corner, very carefully trying to position himself for the red in towards the left part of the table as well. Now then, 73 points on the break, looking to try and put another red in towards the left corner, which are now getting through towards the black for yet another time there. So looking to try and play the shot on the black there. I mean, he's still going to have to work a little bit there in relation to that red that I said he's managed to put in a very safe place previously, but now I think he will be all down to whether he can see the double, which is going to be on there for him, or is it going to have to be all down to a shot on the red taken in towards the right middle with the double. Brilliant shot there from Robertson, and potentially could still be the shot there that gets him the century on the board. But of course now with a break of 82, he's going to be looking at a potential opportunity of playing for the blue in towards the left corner. Now plenty of drag towards the cue ball there with a lot of backspin as well. Robertson, come on lad. Well, I'll tell you what, he's certainly playing quite well. I genuinely thought Chang was going to be the favourite here, but Robertson, especially after that mismatch on the green, exactly the same situation as he's going to find himself in a position right now for. You know, missing out on that green in the first frame could have easily gifted the frame away to Chang, but ever since that point, you have to say he's managed to step up his game massively, a level or two above, and now he's about to find himself with an intermission of 15 minutes there, with a 4-0 lead as well, for good measure. And now 96 points of a lead. He will be down to a shot for the century now on the blue. And a century break very much on the table there for Neil Robertson with a really good performance against Chang that he's going to have to settle for. A little bit of a miracle waiting to happen there for him. Unless that is the case, he's going to have to find himself crashing out of the first round. And not quite playing his best snooker out there. But ultimately, it will be enough there for Neil Robertson to have been playing really, really good snooker for himself. And now it is a century break there for Robertson to finish the frame off. And now it will be down to a 4-0 lead there for Neil Robertson against Chang And we see ourselves in a position of the world number 2. And of course, the top seed for the tournament, still looking very nicely to try and progress towards the second round and play the winner of Xia Wei against Jim John match, which still does seem like it is going to be going in the way of Xia Wei there. Despite being massive underdog, he was still able to win that frame by 4 frames to 0 now. He's going to be easily. So let's see what's going to happen. But ultimately, it is Xia Wei against Jian John and Robertson against Chang Minyu. Both of them have a 4-0 lead, and both of them will take, well, certainly a massive downfall for them to lose this particular matchup. For now, it will be all down to Neil Robertson with a 4-0 lead against Chang Minyu, and we'll see you soon in 15 minutes time. Stay tuned in with more action yet to come.
to know what you knew. Restless every time we start locking eyes. Lost control. Oh, it's paradise with honesty, but I'm in the dead of the night. Let the darkness take control. Let the darkness take control. Darkness take control. May the darkness take control. Take me in the smoke, breathe me in and let me go. Sink to your heart to find you. Open up your eyes till you're blinded by the lies, so you can see what you do. Restless every time we start locking eyes. Lost control. Oh, it's paradise with honesty, but I'm in the dead of the night. Teardrops on the floor. The pain is over. Feel the darkness take control. Darkness take control.
Right then everybody, let's get back into the action. The intermission is now almost over, and let's see if the match is going to be almost over as well, because for now we do have Neil Robertson with a very healthy advantage of 4 frames to nil. On the other table we've got Si Jiahui with exactly the same advantage and still being at the table right now, looking to try and extend that advantage as well. over to 5-0 gap over Jiang there and Chang Minyu. So seemingly we are going to have Chinese players to be eliminated there, but of course at least one of them will progress through in this part of our quartet here of the 4 players. You know, 3 of them from China, 1 from Australia, but ultimately at least 1 player from China will have to make it to the next stage. And ultimately Xiaowei has played quite well there, which is having a bit of a look in relation to his match against Jiang there. And you know, as much as Zhang has been struggling quite recently, now we're about to get Robertson back into the action there, as he's going to be the player with a break off, as our match is about to restart as well. So then let's see if it is going to be Robertson with a very much a clean sweep there of 6 frames to 0, or is he going to be down to Chang Minyu to come back a little bit stronger from the intermission. You know, we've seen those 4-0 deficits to be very much overturned over to 6-4 of the advantage, but for now he needed to make sure he avoided a double kiss. He just about did that, and still probably is very likely to find himself in behind little black right now. And with the cue ball being so close towards the red there, I mean, potentially had the other red not been in the way there, Robertson would have probably tried to go for a shot into the green pocket, but I mean, he still might. I don't think it goes past the red, to be fair. Although he certainly tried to fire that one in. Oh, that one is a little bit. He's going to stay out on the table there. Just, well, he could see a little bit too much of the pocket there, as it turns out, because he was actually able to sort of undercut that one, which, you know, past that red seemed like it was going to be mission impossible. So let's see on what Chang Minyu is going to be looking at right now. Certainly is going to have to try and do something here with the plans of those 2 reds. I mean, playing a shot off the side cushion is never the best thing for me to do, because as much as you might get the red in, it's very rarely you get the red in and then you're able to play that shot so well so that you're going to be lined up perfectly on the colour. But this time, it may be a little bit different, because you've got 3 ball colours and of course the blue as well for you to try and play for. So yeah, let's see if that's going to happen here. And if that's going to be the case, so then topspin needed for sure. But of course, he needs to make sure that, first of all, he pots the red in. And to be fair, played that shot really, really well. But as I say, having a variety of ball colours certainly would have helped him as well. So then, just like he was in 3 of the previous 4 frames, he's now going to get a chance of his own. So let's see if he's going to have an opportunity this time around to be taken a little bit further than what he's managed in the previous 3 frames and a half. And now, well, there's your answer. Absolutely nowhere when it comes down to the reds at the lower end of the table. So may have to take the one into the green pocket, but straight away he's gone from level easy to level difficult with skipping the medium for no particular reason. Now then, plenty of backspin needed. He needs to play the shot well. He didn't. And now we just wait to see where that red is actually going to finish. And I think he'll finish perfectly on the line there for Robertson. Is he going to be able to see that one? Doesn't look like it. So just about lucky enough there from Chang Minyu. But still going to have a long shot available there for Robertson into the left corner. And I think Neil would very much realise that he does find himself in a position where, you know, his opponent is struggling quite badly. And he's going to have to try and take this game to a whole new level, which is exactly what he's done there with a really good shot on the red. Now then allowing himself to position that cue ball nicely for the blue to be taken in towards the right middle. And ultimately still looking for a chance to get the blue into towards the right middle. Allow himself to play this shot through the top side there and basically probably get around the red if he can. And he decided just to play it into the gap in between the green and the red. Might want to keep that one at the top part of the table, but at the same time, you know, he's close to it now. It's not too easy to get on that red, so he may as well just take it away. Although, of course, you know, it does help you when you've got a chance to play for a red like that at the top edge of the table. But Robertson clearly thinks better of it for now. And he's just going to find himself in a position of playing the blue. A little bit too straight to it, but at the same time shouldn't be too dramatic for him. And just very carefully trying to find his way with a shot towards the left middle. Now then, an opportunity to try and take the blue away into the left middle. As I say, I mean, backspin on the cue ball is certainly going to help him as well, but I think just trying to play through that shot on the red is also actually going to be a nice little addition to him, because just getting closer towards the red will minimize the angle and therefore minimize the work that he has to do with the cue ball right now, because he's entering the very narrow part of the break here, because even though he's still got a couple of reds available to him, the black out of position here doesn't really help his case, and if anything, he's going to have to try and probably take that cue ball on a way around the black here. Whether he's going to be able to achieve that or not remains to be seen, but just carefully playing this shot with, a line to be taking that cue ball through the reds. It needs to make sure he misses the reds, and probably the black there was the aim. He did catch the black a little bit, but always doing that from the right-hand side. Was never going to do too much damage, but still done a little bit of it. Makes the next shot a lot more difficult for him in relation to getting the black in. It needs to be a very precise shot there, but also not too easy to get on that next red. But he has done both of those parts of the task. So now then, he's got the chance to, he's either going to come out of this one with a position which is going to be very clear ahead of him, or he's going to have to suspend the break here. And the answer is, he's going to have to suspend the break here, I'm afraid. He's got the red in. He got a really nice contact with the other reds as well, but just unable to make that cue ball to go past those reds with enough of traction. I think the contact that he's made on that top red, which is a little bit too significant, and at the end of it, you'll be a break of 21 points, 17 points of the advantage, and he should just be playing the safety shot off the black and try and get the cue ball to the top side of the table. Whether he's going to be able to achieve that or not, we're going to have to wait and see. But he doesn't really have to invent something special here. Just needs to play a very careful shot on the black, get the cue ball to be closer towards the right side cushion. Now then, 17 points is the lead, and still looking to try and do exactly the same thing as he's done in the previous 4 frames. When he doesn't get himself the first chance to be the one that kills the frame for him, he just waits till another one is going to come his way, and so far, they always did come his way, and he was always able to take just about enough of them so that he was able to win every single one of the remaining frames so far. Chang Minyu for now just trying to get that cue ball to the top edge of the table, and once again not playing a good shot at all. Nearly caught the back and jaw of the middle, which would have allowed Robertson to have a mid-range shot there. Meanwhile, he's still got a long shot available, which is very straight, which probably helps him in relation to the positional play, but probably doesn't really help him in relation to the bossing angle, though he's played that one absolutely superbly well, and right into the corner of the left pocket he went. Now then, he will be down to a shot on the green potentially available for him. Robertson's still thinking about the chance of playing for the blue here into the right corner. He does have the line there of taking that cue ball towards the red at the left-hand side of the table. Position it slightly on the left-hand side and then allow himself to be very much the player to try and do all the damage there when he comes down to, having a decent enough break there to try and put himself, plenty of points clear of Chang Minyu. Meanwhile, he's taking that blue away quite nicely, but he has sort of run himself into a bit of a no man's land there in between the 2 reds that he was playing for. He was able to take the first one away nicely. Just needs to make sure that, the red that he's sort of put into the open play is not going to be getting in the way of the blue too much, because that's not something that he needs right now. Just needs a good shot on the blue. He should be able to get through to that red, and then at that stage he shouldn't have any more difficulties with playing a shot of the red onto the left or the right hand side of the table. It shouldn't really make a massive difference to him, but at the same time it probably should be all down to a chance there for the blue to be taken in towards the left middle, as it's now 30 points of a gap that he has over Chang Minyu, and still having at least 2 more reds available to him, as he's about to play for the highest one of the 2. Probably get the black into the open play as well, as he's now looking to put 60 points behind himself and his opponent here, looking to try and take that red away into the left corner, but ultimately just very, very cautious when it comes down to a shot on the black there to be played. And, still playing a very interesting shot there to have been taken. So a very nice line there that he's taken on the black, and here still positions himself nicely for the black to be potted into the right corner. 47 points, plays 4, 26 on the current break. And as I say, this is going to be the last red, which is going to be the one that is available to Robertson right now. So he should still put himself in that position where, you know, another red and a colour combination after this one, and all of a sudden, he's going to be clear of any danger there, barring snookers, of Chang Min-yu. And, well, let's see if the red is going to bounce away from the left side cushion enough there. And Robertson clearly knew that he was going to, because as soon as he's seen that touch on the cue ball, he always knew that there was going to be plenty of room for him to get that red away. But of course, since he's going to have to take a cheaper colour, he's going to need one more shot after this red and the colour combination. So then, a shot on the blue, which I have to say he's played for a little bit with a naive fashion there. I'm not sure on what is he planning to achieve here then, as he's wrong side of a blue. I mean, he potentially could have the plant into the left corner, or he could go for another red into the left corner as well, as he now makes it to be his 4th highest break of the match there. Make it 3rd highest, as he now takes the blue away. And look at that for a shot. I mean, where did they find the angle from on that blue? Brilliantly taken there. And now a frame ball available. Could have been, well, a little bit closer to it, but as I say, there was always a risk of underplaying it rather than overplaying for that particular shot. So then just needing to take that red carefully into the pocket, and then he'll be through towards a 5-0 gap there against Chang Min-yu. And all of a sudden, well, as I said before the match, I can't see this one going one-sided in favour of Robertson. Well, he certainly proved me wrong on that one. And fair play to him, because he's played some really good snooker. At times he's still, and I think he's going to know that, he's got plenty of things to try and improve on, but at times he's been playing some really good stuff out there as well. And now then, of course, not able to make a century break on this particular frame, but still able to make it a break of 50 plus there, which will make it the 3rd one in the match for him. And Chang Min-yu once again had the chance to score some points, but at the same time, he didn't really manage to take that chance anywhere with him. And now then there will be an opportunity for Robertson to try and get himself through towards the pink here. Just trying to get those 2 reds away from the pink right now. Whether that's going to be very much possible for him, or he decided just to play a careful positional shot for them onto the right middle. So now he can choose whichever one he wants to take and still keep this break going. And for now, he's looking for 95 points of a total clearance if it takes the remaining 2 reds with a black. And then he's still going to be able to make a total clearance on all 6 colours out there. So, going to be able to boost his average break as well to around 50 points there or so, as he's now playing that cue ball all the way towards the left middle pocket. Now then, 81 plays 4, and he's still going to be looking at a potential opportunity of playing a shot at the red. Once again back towards the black there, and 61 points is going to be on the current break, so make that 68 with a black. And then it is going to be very much down to 95, although that is very much not the way for you to get the action on the cue ball. And just tells you it's all about 5 margins. And I think he got a little bit too much pace on that cue ball, and that could have compromised him quite badly. But look at that for a shot on the yellow. Brilliantly taken, and still he's able to fully recover there when he comes down to the position on the green. There has been very much a bit of a problem ball for him at the opening start of the match, but as I say, he can now think about it with a great smile on his face, because as much as he was under threat of losing the first frame under, well, different circumstances, but certainly plenty of efforts there from Chang Min-yu to be sort of in there with a chance of winning that opening frame against Robertson. Ever since that point, he never really had the luxury of being the favourite for the frame. Now then, it will be a break of 88 points now with the pink, as Robertson seems to be just enjoying himself out there and making it total clearance of 95 points at the end, and a really good break there from Neil Robertson as he now puts himself down into a 5-0 lead there against Chang Min-yu, and seemingly he's finally managed to catch up with Si Jiaowei and his brilliant pace in a match against Jiang there, as both top seeds are going to have exactly the same scoreline, and Si Jiaowei is already very much looking to try and put 6 frames behind Jiang there and make himself to be set up with a potential clash there with what seems like a match against Neil Robertson into the last 16, of course. You know, we're going to be straight through down to the what usually would be the 4th round, but of course because of the specifics of the draw, you only get 32 players past the qualifying rounds, and then you're going to have, you know, top 16 players waiting in the draw there. You don't really have them to get through the qualifying rounds, as you do need for the majority of the tournaments right now, but still looking to try and making another top seed, which will make their way through towards the second round of the main draw, joining the likes of Salgadon, Sean Murphy, and of course Weezer, as the only three, I'm pretty sure, that have managed to make it all the way towards the you know, the second round of the top 16 players so far. Of course, we've also on Ronnie O'Sullivan, I should say. Of course, we've seen the world number 1 to be eliminated, the world number 8 of Mark Williams, Ding Zhuyi, the world number 15, and then, of course, the likes of Barry Hawkins, the world number 11. And, yeah, as I mentioned, Trump is also going to be out and eliminated there. But Chang Min-yu there, very disappointed with his own performance, I must be sure. But at the same time, I think Robertson can be very happy with his own performance out there, because he's played some great snooker. He's had a bit of a shaky moments, but I think all in all, you have to say, it's all been down to great control there from Neil, and allowing himself to be in that confident position throughout the majority of the matches. And yeah, now he's put himself right back in the mix there to try and take it all the way. Whether he's going to be able to do that on the first time of asking, I think we're about to find out. But I still think he is going to be right in the mix there of trying to take this one away, and therefore just put himself right back in the action there when it comes down to an opportunity to be taken for a 6-0 of a win over Chang Min-yu. As meanwhile, Si Xiaowei seemingly now is only a couple of shots away from making it all the way, although as he now puts the black away, he's probably running himself a little bit out of position there, it would seem. So then still going to be down to 17 place 2 there in terms of the points, but yeah, he's going to have to try and wait for another opportunity out there as well. So then, Neil Robertson with a break-off shot against Chang Min-yu there. Sorry, Chang Min-yu, I should say, with a break-off shot against Robertson. And now I think Neil can go just for pretty much anything that he wants to. He's got a raid available into the right corner, playing for the pink as well. And, well, that time of asking, just played that one a little bit too straight. Still got away with that particular raid, but ultimately he's still going to have a chance of the left corner there available for Chang Min-yu. So still, once again, the chance is going to be there. And once again, he's going to be the first player to receive that opportunity. But, you know, he's not really going to be the first player to waste an opportunity there, because that certainly happened in plenty of previous frames. This time around, goes a little bit sideways there with the red. So not quite perfect queuing there, straight into the pocket, but still makes it in. And now a chance for the black to be taken in towards the right corner as well. So there needs plenty of backspin here to try and get that one away from the black, but ultimately doesn't want it anywhere near the side cushion, which he is going to be able to get that cue ball away and far enough from on that particular occasion. So then, Chang Min-yu still looking to try and win this frame there, away from Neil Robertson, as he's now looking to extend his lead to 9 points on the red, positioning himself for the black to be taken in towards the left corner, and ultimately just get himself within that rhythm of you know, trying to pot the red away in towards the left corner. But ultimately, just looking at the red to be potted into the left part of the table is not really going to be enough there. He needs to try and make some sort of advantage with you know, the main pack of the reds, as we now see a shot which could be very much shaping up the frame for him, and he's played that shot really well. Could have done with a little bit, with being a little bit straight on the black there, but at the same time, he should be able to play a nice little shot there on the black to recover the cue ball, and well, potentially could take it to the top edge of the table if he wants to. But I think well, I say alternatively, I don't think he's got much of a choice here, because it depends on how much of an angle he has on the black to be taken. But ultimately, he still needs to be very careful as he makes his way towards trying to pot the black there, which he has done now. So then, 3 reds, 3 blacks. I think the last thing that he's going to be thinking about for now is the maximum, but never know. The position is actually not too bad for him, but I think he's about to make it crystal clear that he's not looking for a 147, and he's probably going to be looking for that red at the top edge of the table here to try and potentially play for the blue. Although he got plenty of power on this one. So he may, well, he's a little bit of no man's land there, but he's gonna be closer towards the black there than he is to the blue. So may actually be able to keep that mythical break over 147 to be alive there for a while. Because, you know, if you look at the main position of the Reds, they do look brilliant. But this shot, a little less so. He needs to get the black into the right corner. Otherwise, he will be still leaving a good position away to Robertson. And he has done so on this occasion. Now, if he's going to get a little bit of a lucky kiss of the red, he was trying to do that with his body there, just forcing that cue ball to be away from the red. And he will be. Who will Robertson play in the next round? Well, if he wins, you know, you never quite know. I mean, I've done that beforehand where I've seen 5-0. By the way, the match that he will play the winner of, if he wins, is going to be Si Xiaowei against Jian Zhong there. So Si Xiaowei is at a 5-0 lead, last time I checked. So he may still be. Let's have a look, actually. There's Chang there just having a bit of an extra second to have a look at it. Yeah, so Si Xiaowei is still very comfortable lead there of 33 points. Ahead of just 2 there from Jian Zhong. So it does seem like the winner of this match will play Si Xiaowei, but it's not quite guaranteed out there. But I'll tell you what, Chang Minyu has got a bit of an expertise there in making a maximum break, especially when it comes down to the Triple Crown tournaments. But this time around, spoke too soon there from me, and he may be down to end of a break there. Not just end of a maximum, but also, can he do anything here with this red? And he's still unable to make a break of 50 plus points there for himself. With 152 points, more than half of those points are going to be based off 2 breaks there that he had. Of 43 in the first frame, and 48, which could still prove to be the last frame as well. If Robertson needs to get a good chance, he's got 99 points at the table, and therefore, there's still plenty more points for him to try and potentially score there, especially with Si Xiaowei not playing that shot as well as he could have. Allowing Robertson to see a red available into the left corner. And now then, is Robertson going to go for it straight away? Feel like he will, because that's the reason why he's studying the bottom half of the table there to find out where Tottenham is first of all. But ultimately, I think just look where can he leave that cue ball without allowing the chance for a red to be taken in towards the right middle there. Well, I think he could have played that shot a little bit better, a little bit wider, and a little bit closer to the black ball cushion, but nothing dramatic. It just seems like there is a chance for Chang to go for the red in towards the right middle. But to be fair, I mean, I'm probably going to retract the statement on should have played it wider, because if you play that wider, there is going to be a bit more of room for the cue ball to be played onto the colour, which will probably emphasise the shot to make a little bit more sense there from Chang's point of view, which is something that Robertson would like to avoid. And that's probably exactly why he has now put himself in the position of having a chance to pop the red in towards the right corner here. And yeah, very careful shot on the right-hand side of those reds. And a really nice shot there as well from Robertson, because, you know, putting that cube onto the right part of the table, as much as it's not an easy thing to do, it's also a very important thing to do. Because now, Chang Minyu is going to have to be the player that plays a really good shot here. Very thin on the 2 reds at the right corner. And he also needs to make sure he's not going to be leaving a red away next to the left corner. And he's done pretty well on that one as well. And Robertson acknowledging that one with a little tap on the table. Yeah, I think that another problem for Robertson, for Chang, of course, here is that he can't really put any pressure on Robertson. You can just see that Neil is very relaxed there. Doesn't have to worry about too many things here until the score probably gets to a 5-3 points or something. And he can just try and approach this frame as if it was the starting point there. You know, yes, he's 48 points behind, but I'd still probably say he's absolutely not out of the picture for the frame at all. And if he gets a chance here, of course, for me, they'll put him as the favourite for the frame there. The position for now, of course, as it stands, is not too bad at all. The green is out of position, but it's still possible. There's going to be a couple of reds closer. Oh, that's certainly going to put him out of position there. Don't know how he was able to find the black there, but somehow he was. And he will be back down to the same place there, it would seem. Just playing the last 32 gets to 10k. So gets that by just sitting down. Does it actually? I mean, he did go through the qualifiers, to be fair, I'm pretty sure. Because Murphy didn't have to play the qualifiers, so, I mean, that would be a little bit weird. Do you get 10k for getting through the qualifiers of the China Open? I mean, I know it's the biggest prize money of the Asian tournament in the history, but I mean, sure, you get 10k for the first tournament, but I mean, he has got through qualifiers, but I mean, still, let's have a look. Matthew Selt, head-to-head. I mean, he did have to go through a lot of qualifiers, didn't he? Or did he? Or did he not? Now then. China, yeah, he did have to go through 2 qualifiers, which, I mean, he did have to beat Ali Carter, so to be fair, I think the specifics of the tournament here, of the China Open, probably suggest that, you know, you do need to play. Yap and Chang had to play 3 matches before he got with a match against Yap and Chang, so I probably think that's reasonable, because very few of the players are actually going to be able to do that, so, yeah, I think that's probably going to be fair enough, as we're still checking the position of the cue ball to see what it is at the table right now. 55 points right now is the lead for Chang Minyu. 99 at the table. Let's have a look what Chang is going to have to say about this one. Doesn't have a lot to say, it would seem. He's just saying that he doesn't want to, you know, take this one to extreme. And let's see what's going to happen here then. So what's going to happen is Robertson is now happy with everything that's going on. And he's now ready to take his shot on from here. So then, I don't know how he managed to find the black on the previous occasion. And this time around, of course, he's not able to find the black, but he nearly found, and he did find the jaw of the middle pocket there. But of course, as I say, nearly did. He caught the back end of it. Back end of the back end jaw, that makes perfect sense. But yeah, basically the one with a minimal contact that he had. And still allowing the cue ball to be alongside the bulk line, which is not the best position for the wide, but I think it is probably going to be good enough at this occasion here for Chang to not have an easy opportunity. Although, just as I say that, there could be a plant that has formed up after the previous shot there from Robertson. Let's see if this one is going to be made into the pocket. It was, and with a little bit of a lucky kiss of the Reds, it is now going to be 56 points, which is the lead for Chang Minyu there. So, at the end of it all, it does seem like he will get a frame on the board here. He only needs 2 more Reds there after this blue, and then he should be clear of any danger from the point of view of Neil Robertson. And he's now looking to try and play this shot away to the top part of the table. I mean, he's still going to have so many of those Reds in the open play there. As I said, the position would have been wonderful for Robertson there to try and make a comeback, to make it a clean sweep. But see if that's going to be the case in the next frame, though, because probably unlikely to happen here, as Chang is probably likely to win the frame with a scoreline to 0. If he just manages to keep away from those unnecessary errors, which we've seen plenty of already, as he now puts himself down to a position of 68 points to be the gap in between himself and his opponent. So then a very careful shot on towards the ping. Once again, a little bit too close to the front jaw, and ultimately, you know, not too far away from being compromised on the black there in relation to the red to be taken into the right corner. But now, 68 points is the lead, as I say. The red will take him down to 69, and at the same time, the black will be very much a frame ball for him, where he's going to have to take the black away to be more than 75 points clear, which very rarely happens out there on the snooker table, where you've got 75 points at the table, 69 as the advantage, and it's still not enough for you to win the frame. So then 76 is going to be very much the advantage that will win at least one of those frames. So once again, what could have been there for Chang Minyu, and it could have easily been, you know, happening in the first or even the second frame out there, especially the first one. I mean, he had the break of 43 points, which he was unable to convert even with that late chance there. But still, now as he puts himself into the equation for this frame, Si Xiaowei, by the way, has managed to win that match against Jiang Zhong there. So it's now 6-0 to him. And the winner of this match will play him in the second round of the main draw. Still then looking to try and get another red in towards the right corner here, Chang Minyu, and still looking for that first break of 50 plus there. He's not going to be able to make a century break after having a really good break of 48 points in the first part of the frame, but he's still looking to try and keep himself on the black there throughout as many times as he can, despite of course using the blue and the pink on one of those occasions. As he now plays another red carefully well in towards the left corner. Robertson, of course, I don't think will be too worried, but also I don't think he's going to be underestimating his opponent at this stage of a match. I think he knows that he obviously had to play quite well for him to get into a 5-0 of a lead, but also I think he needs to be aware of Chang wasn't playing well at all at that stage of a match, and therefore, he does find himself in a position of, looking to try and take this straight away into the right middle. But ultimately, having to win a couple of frames of the bounce after this one will certainly help his chances of trying to make a competitive match out of this one. As he makes the first break of 50 plus there for him, of 51 points and counting. So scoring 99 points based off 2 breaks there in this frame, which is not too bad at all, especially if you consider what he's managed to achieve in the previous frames out there. By the way, I've just been a little bit confused there. Since when do we have a century break there for Robertson? Or is that me? 104. Oh, yes, he did get a total clearance there. I forgot about that. Yeah. I was just like, I know he had a 95 points of a break, and I was wondering if that one counted as a century break for him. But yeah, of course, the total clearance that he had in the previous frame out there. But I'll tell you what, total clearance, mentioning about it, Chang Min-yu is now making the most out of this position, and all of a sudden he now finds himself in a very good scoring opportunity, and he could well find himself in a position where he would have scored 140 points there based off those 2 breaks of 48 at the start of the frame, and now 66 points and counting. He's still going to be looking at 93 points, which of course will get him to 141 total when he comes down to the points that he would have scored based on those 2 breaks, and also 148 based on the actual total points that he's going to score, with that 7 points of a foul there from Neil Robertson as well, as he carefully drops that green in towards the right middle, still positions himself very nicely for a shot onto the brown, to be taken in towards the yellow pocket as well. Now then, plenty of topspin to be taken. And, little wobble there from the brown, but still makes that one in. And now looking to try and play the shot on for the blue here, to be taken carefully well in towards the right middle. And as he's still now looking to try and take that shot away with plenty of side spin there, trying to make it through the gap there in between the pink and the black, and still allowing himself to be lined up very nicely indeed there for a break of 93 points if he does decide to make it a total clearance at the end of it. So then has got a bit of a extra contact with the black, so he's going to try and double that one with all the recklessness that he can have, but in the end it's not going to be a total clearance. But still, a very good break there of 86 points, which gets him 1 frame on the ball there against Neil Robertson. And meanwhile, it may look like a consolation frame for now. He may turn out to be into one of the greatest comebacks of the season if he does manage to win 5 more frames after this one as well. For now, it is still a bit of a mythical story, that, but we're going to have to wait and see if that mythical story will come out to be something a little bit bigger when we get to the end of the match. For now, it's still Neil Robertson that has a very comfortable lead of 5 frames to 1 against China's player of Chang Min-yu. I wanted to say Chang Min-yu, and then I said China, and then I was like, Chinese player, Chang Min-yu. Yeah, but it is now 3 breaks of 50 plus there for Robertson, 95, 114, and he might have 1 extra, which I can't remember. And of course, the only break of 50 plus there for Chang was the break of 84 points. Clearly had no intention in playing for the black there at the end, because he realised that he was going to be down to, a necessary shot there for him to play, and just trying to put a little bit of entertainment for the fans. Couldn't quite make that one stick. And yeah, of course, we're still going to have 2 more matches there of the first round of today. It is going to be Mark Selby against Pang Jung-soo and Karen Wilson against Aaron Hill, the former winner of the Xi'an Grand Prix, that has got plenty of points here to try and defend before we eventually get to the Xi'an Grand Prix itself later on in the season. But yeah, Mark Cullen against the same way. That match was supposed to take place tomorrow as well, but in the end that won't quite be the case. And yeah, we are going to have John Higgins against John Bingham, the only match at the Chinese arena here. So then it's still going to be an interesting one, because Stuart Bingham has been breezing through the qualifiers, having a couple of really good performances out there as well, whereas John Higgins played, pretty much a match and a half there, where he was absolutely thrashed by someone like Watchalong that you might heard of, on his way towards winning the 2nd Shanghai Masters crown, which was a really good performance for him, especially when you talk about the all-round performance in that tournament in together. Now then, it will be a break-off shot there for Robertson, as he's now still looking for the 2nd time here to try and get himself over the finish line and make it a 6-1 of a scoreline for him to try and work with in a race 1st to 6 frames out there. As it's now still that only century that he's got next to his name. Still going to be looking to try and expand on that for a while. And yeah, well, potentially something that Chang Min-yu is going to be looking for as well, because we've seen players to go 5-0 down, then make a couple of centuries, and then all of a sudden they're going to be crashing out there because eventually, you know, the player that got themselves 5 frames ahead there will get the chance, which they're going to be able to utilize. So I think it's just a question of when, not if, but that question could, of course, be changed very quickly if Chang Min-yu is able to win at least 2 more frames out there, and then you can maybe start to think about it. He would have won 3 frames on the bounce at that stage, and maybe have to start asking of, you know, if he was able to win 3 frames on the bounce, he's only going to have to do that again, and then all of a sudden he's going to be able to come back to complete the comeback of the season. Now then, Robertson with a break-off shot, getting that cue ball to be once again closer towards the right side cushion, and then back towards the left side of the table as well. And well, what does Chang Min-yu here do here then? Because he can go for an all-out attack performance, or he can try and treat it as a individual frame-by-frame basis. And you know, let's see if he's going to be looking to try and go for this red in towards the right corner. Not on this occasion, as he gives the turn back towards Neil Robertson. So then Robertson still looking at the chance of playing the shot at the red there at the top part of the table, and depends on if he's going to be able to achieve that shot quite well. Still looking at potentially the chance there of just trying to play that red quite close towards the green pocket, but obviously not too close to the jaws there. Get the cue ball to be heading through the gap in between the brown and green, and get it down the lower end of the table as well. So, of course, that was always going to leave a chance away to Chang Min-yu into the left corner. But I think that was the one where Robertson was going to be quite happy to leave a chance like that away. Because it's a tight line, this. If he does go for an attacking approach. And let's see what's going to happen. He went for it. He made that one in. And, well, this is exactly why I was saying it was going to be a risky approach for him to be taking. Well, he got about as unlucky as he possibly could have been. But I thought the line for the cue ball to be taken past the red was not really there. And that's why I thought he wasn't going to take that shot on, but he did. He got a flick off that red, and still, it's not really going to get anywhere with this one. Just a single point there, it would seem, on the break. On total points for the frame, and then, of course, the frames total as well. So then just trying to... Well, I mean, he's gone for that blue, actually, and, well, once again... Is he going to be happy? Is he going to be lucky on this occasion? No, he won't be. Well, that was... I mean, I'm not going to say unfortunate, because he was the guy that was playing that shot there, but what a brilliant pot that was from the blue. Just a little bit unlucky that he caught the jaw of the middle pocket, but seemingly, he's not going to take a no for an answer, and he's going to try and make it another shot into towards the left corner, but this time around, he is going to be very much walking away from the table and potentially giving a chance away to Robertson, which any chance from starting from this point onwards could be the deciding one in the match there. We haven't really seen an opportunity for Neil in the previous frame. Let's see if we're going to witness one here. We won't. He was able to see the red, but he was not able to see the potting angle of it. So then 6 points for Chang. When does Ronnie play next? He should be playing against Shanghai on Wednesday, which is 2 days from today. I think he's scheduled for the evening session. So, yeah, that's going to be Weezer against David Gilbert in the morning session. And then it will be Napon Senkam against Ronnie O'Sullivan for the evening session. Very interesting fact for you. Technically, both David Gilbert and Napon Senkam are going to be the higher seeds, which is incredible because they're not. But in the draw, both of them are going to be higher than Ronnie O'Sullivan and Weezer, which is just an interesting fact. That doesn't mean anything, but... Their faces and their numbers are going to be displayed on the left-hand side, which usually is where, you know, the top-seeded players see themselves to be displayed out there. And I wonder if it's going to be something to do with the position of their seats as well, because it's going to be quite interesting to be watching as well. But I'm not sure what the actual protocol for that is going to be at the China Open, but it's going to be very weird to see someone like Weezer as the reigning world champion and the world number 4 to be very much as the potential second best player when it comes down to the rankings, up against someone like David Gilbert, which is currently the world number 32, I think he is, after losing out those ranking points for the 2024 World Championship as well. So I think he's just about inside the top 32, but as I say, just about, I think he is literally the world number 32. As Robertson plays an interesting shot there, catches both the yellow and the brown. And ultimately, I don't think he's going to pay too much for that mistake. When Selby next today, he's got a match against Pang Jung-soo in the evening session. So then, we're going to have a chance of Chang Min-yu now to be playing a red away towards the right corner. Get the cue ball to be bounced away. And ultimately, just needs to make sure he's not going to be putting one of those reds too close towards the right corner. And yeah, well, that certainly was a little bit of luck there for Chang Min-yu, as he now gets the cue ball to be perfectly in behind the brown after a cannon on towards the yellow. So then, Robertson is going to have to take a little bit of a estimation there in relation to where does he want to put the cue ball. As if to say, I mean, if he was to choose a perfect situation there and a perfect position of the cue ball, he probably would love to put that one right next to the paint there on the left-hand side of those reds. But it's a risky shot to be taking on because you can easily hit the pink, or you can easily go too far away from the pink and therefore hit the wrong red. Which put it all down to a little bit of luck there for you to see, but at the same time, you might actually be able to see those reds on the right-hand side of the table. So then play it with plenty of action, but it seems like he wasn't happy as soon as the cue was hitting the white there. So let's see if he's actually been able to get away with it, which would be incredible. I mean, if he's got that red to be positioned in the way of the red that is closest to the cue ball right now for the left corner, I mean, that's going to be an incredible story, but I don't think that's the case. Although Chang Min-yu has to bridge over the red, potentially. Now, there's just about enough room there for that red to be squeezed into the pocket, but still needs a good shot here. And also needs to get the cue ball to be working out for the black there. So, once again, just like in the previous frame, Chang Min-yu needs a second opportunity. But ultimately, just like it was in the previous frame, Robertson still hasn't scored any of those points. So we've seen now 150 points without reply. You know, there's 500 to go there. And then you're going to be able to get yourself into that Sean Murphy club. Now then, 14 points is the lead here for Chang as he now puts the black away. Still going to be lined up nicely for the red. Taking it towards the left corner. And yeah, just looking to try and exploit that rest to the maximum potential. But of course, he needs to get the cue ball somewhat closer towards the black than the red was on the previous occasion. Didn't play that shot too well. And interesting to see what he does right now. I think he's got to play the cue ball into the reds closest to the black now. Well, I mean, he's going for a topspin shot, which probably means that I'm wrong. Now, he did try to play a shot like that, but I don't really understand what he's going to get out of it, because that's an interesting situation here. I mean, he basically had a bit of a chain reaction there towards the reds off the right middle, but now, unless he's got a combination shot in towards the right middle here as well, it's not going to be an easy one for him to go for. And of course, he still needs to play that shot with a lot of power. And with a lot of traction in relation to that red as well. So, a lot of thinking there for Chang Min-yu. Let's see if he's going to be able to put that behind him. But as I say, the shot along the side cushion is not the hardest one of all time. But is he going to go for a double then? On the red, try and play the cue ball for the blue. No, he's just, for the black I should say. He's just trying to use the main pack as the cover point in between the cue ball and that dangerous red at the right middle. So let's see if he's played that shot well enough, because it certainly seems like, you know, there is going to be a chance for Robertson to try and exploit those reds, but yeah, probably just not seeing enough of a gap there. So just rolling that cue ball towards the reds. And well, let's see what we get with this one, because there will be a touching ball here for Chang Min-yu, but I mean, I'm not sure what can he actually achieve with that touching ball. Playing the cue ball away from the reds certainly going to help, but at the same time, you know, I feel like Robertson is just going to be able to roll the cue ball towards the reds in a very consistent manner. So then we could well be seeing a re-rack. Because by the way, look at this, 49.3 as the average break for Chang there, 49.2 as the average break for Robertson, and yet he's the one leads by 5 frames to 1, despite losing out by 22 points on the current frame here. So yeah, I mean, just not sure where we're going to get with this one. The red over the middle, no way through to it. Selby versus Pang in 3 hours exactly, alongside Wilson against Aaron Hill. Now then, just a careful shot there onto the cue ball. I mean, he needs to be careful with those type of shots there, Chang Min-yu, because he nearly left the red available there to Robertson into the right corner. But ultimately, I think Neil has got the opportunity here to play a shot which would split the reds away from each other. He just needs a lot of trust in his ability and to bring in the cue ball back towards the black ball cushion here. Whether he's going to be able to achieve that or not, I'm going to have to wait and see. Now then, what can he try and manage here then? Certainly thinking about this one very thoroughly as well. Still then, backspin, of course, as you would expect. The red on the left-hand side of the three of them. So this is going to cause a little bit of chaos. Let's see how controlled is this chaos going to be there. And the answer is really controlled there from Neil Robertson. Although, the fact that he's left one of those reds on the right-hand side of the table may still prove to be enough there for someone like Chang Min-yu to exploit them, I should say, and play a safety shot which will allow the cue ball to be positioned back exactly where it is right now. Because once again, you have to be very precise when it comes down to the shots that you're going to play, and therefore, he needs a really good traction on the cue ball, and he needs it to be at least in the position where it is right now. So then playing it as if it was a double, well now, trying to work out if he's got the cover on the red in towards the right middle. But I tell you what, I'm not sure about this one, because I actually think Robertson may be able to squeeze his way through this red and therefore go for the shot in towards the right middle. So whether that will be the case or not remains to be seen. But yeah, we're still going to be looking at this chance there for Robertson as he now finds himself 22 points behind, but ultimately finds himself with a decent enough opportunity. So it just depends on how much of that red can he actually see there and try and get himself through, you know, with a really good opportunity there, because if you pot this red now, you get a decent colour. The frame is going to be very much within your grasp out there. Now then, this is the shot. And, well, he wasn't able to achieve that. I don't know why he played it with so much power, I have to say. I mean, it needed to make some power, but when you play that shot with so much power, I mean, you literally take control. You lose control, I should say, over that type of a shot there. So it's a weird one, that, from Robertson. It's about time Selby re-announced himself. Well, we'll see. He's had a very quiet second part of the season. And I think the loudest that he's been probably was down to the World Championship campaign, where he was the one that nearly, you know, took the game with Weezer to a whole new level, despite not playing particularly well, which was very, very impressive. And yeah, just, you know, didn't have a good second part of the season. That's probably the end of it. Reached the semi-final of the English Open, then managed to get himself into winning the Champions of Champions and the UK Championship as well, back-to-back titles as well. Only the second player to do that last season, after Zhao Xingtong was able to win two of those as well with the World Grand Prix and the Players' Championship. And yeah, still looking now at Chang Min-yu here with a good opportunity to try and put even more points behind himself and Neil Robertson. Despite Robertson having that, what I would say, a really good opportunity to himself, but in the end didn't prove to be the case. And now Chang is the one that's taking charge of this particular performance, and still looking to try and find himself to be playing those type of shots away there. As he's now on the black, once again to the right corner. Makes it a break of 16 points, but ultimately just trying to get that cue ball in towards the safer place for him. Now then, he's still got that red over the middle, which you shouldn't forget about. And of course, he shouldn't try and pot that one randomly. He needs to try and keep that one as a backup option in case he does run himself out of position way too soon on one of those reds, and therefore he's always going to have, unless he's unable to see that red, which, you know, going to have to be some sort of an effort there if you look at the table full of the reds, and yeah, of course then he's going to have to try and find an alternative reaction to it, but he's still going to have to try and probably play that red anyway, because there's not going to be pretty much anywhere at the table where you'll find that red to be safe from the opposition. So then 24 points right now is the lead for Robertson to try and catch up from. Of course, it's Chang Min-yu that has got the advantage for now as it stands, and still looking to try and make his way towards the black there to be taken. So then a very careful shot on the black would probably get him through and in behind of another red there to be taken into the corner. I think there probably will be enough of a line for him to be taking that black away whilst playing for the red in towards the left corner. So then, once again, plenty of backspin here required, and he's not quite as straight as I thought he was on the black, as he, well, now makes contact with the red. So this is potentially where you might need to take that red away there from the right middle. Although, of course, it's still not going to be perfect case scenario, because you are going to be looking at, a bit of a difficult way of getting on the next color, but still, you feel like it's going to be worth it. And you're deciding that, maybe it's not going to be the time to use that red just now. Go for the one that he's just going to be wobbling in towards the left middle, just underneath the pink, and he's played that shot pretty well in relation to getting that position on the black there, sorted out quite well for him again. And all of a sudden, he is just getting back into the game here, Chang. Probably only for the stats numbers for now, in relation to whatever he does in this frame. He's still going to be 5-2 down, but 5-2 is not 5-0. And all of a sudden, if Robertson is going to keep on, that nil next to his name, he can't really win any of those frames, because now he's going to be more than 200 points without an answer there from Chang Min-yu, which is astonishing, really, when you think about the way that the previous 5 frames have gone. As he now about to pot the blue away, which puts him 68 points clear, 46 points on the break. So the next red is going to be a frame ball there, and that mistake on that planned combination into the right middle seemed to have cost Robertson very dearly indeed. As now Chang is about to make his third break of 50 plus. And the second break of 50 plus in just 2 frames out there. And total points, all of a sudden, he's now going to find himself only 160 behind there, which it might seem like a lot there, but when you come down to the scoreline being 5-2, as he now pots that red away and puts him clear, barring snookers of another frame to be on the scoreboard for him. Plays another good shot there to be on the red, and could well make this a century break there for him. I mean, he's still going to have a couple of issues to try and navigate his way through, but nothing is impossible at this stage. As the camera just focuses on the swing there, which is quite a short one, but I suppose he doesn't really play the game with plenty of cue power unless he needs to. So I think no surprise that he's going to have quite a short swing, as you can see there, just having to play a little bit more through the shot there, adding a bit of a distance to that particular shot on the swing. But still, 56 points on the break, and 78 points in total there that he scores in the current frame number 7. As he now takes another red away, gets the cue ball to be a little bit out of shape, but a little bit of fortune there, as he cannons one of those reds away from the pink, and now 79 points clear, so you can forget about that. You can focus on 57 points being the break right now for him, and still looking to try and get the first century break on the score sheet, but played a bit of a bad shot there to get the red out of shape. And run himself out of position out there slightly. Now then the cue ball playing for the red, so has to take this one on a journey around the globe, and he's going to be close towards the middle. And this time around, once again, Chang Min-yu will find that cue ball to go all the way into the middle pocket, and Neil Robertson, of course, he's not going to be carrying on with this particular frame. Are you doing Sylvia Wilson? No, we'll be back into Xiaoxington against Zhanganda as their final match of the first round tomorrow. And then we're going to be moving on towards the round 2 of the matches at the China Open. And meanwhile, even though Robertson, of course, is going to score his first 4 points of the latest 2 frames, he will still be down to very much don't dare to even think 0-5 to 6-5. Well, we've seen it happen. We've seen it happen before. Not necessarily against someone like Robertson, but we've seen someone like Pang in the UK Championship, I think it was, where he was quite close to getting that comeback on. And at the end, in one of the most ridiculous frames out there, where you needed something like 4 snookers, and then, Robertson was tweeting that, put your hand up if you've lost the frame where, you were leading by 4 snookers there, and didn't really help him at that particular occasion. And Robertson was still able to win that match, I think 6-3, maybe 6-2. So I still think he doesn't have to worry about this one, but I think 5-3 is a sign that you might have to start to get worried about it. And I think if it's 5-4, then, you're going to have to be very much calling, what's it called, Palundra and all the problems there for you. Achtung, and all the problems out there as well. I don't know what the attention is going to be in Australian, but yeah, certainly going to be a lot of problems there if Robertson would to lose 4 frames in the bounce there, because especially if he loses them in the same sequence and the same fashion as he has done in the previous two frames, because I mean he's had absolutely no points that he scored himself. You know, we've seen Chang to have a couple of wasted opportunities in those couple of frames, but ultimately he was playing quite well and he was getting that job done there. It's just a question of why was he not able to do that earlier on in the match, and that would have certainly put him right back in the mix there, but as it stands, it's not quite going to be the case, and therefore it will be all down to a decent opportunity here for Neil Robertson to still find himself to be winning this match by 6 frames to 2. Whether it will happen or not, we're going to have to wait and see, but you still have to say Robertson is in a very comfortable lead for him not to get too worried about this one. Although he might have to soon, as I say, 5-3 is a sign, and 5-4 is certainly a bit of an attention seeker there from Chang Min-yu, because that would have been already a very impressive sequence of 4 frames there for him to win, to try and set up, you know, a deciding frame there of number 11, or even to get to frame number 10 there would be super impressive from Min-yu's point of view at this point of the match. Anyway, we're still waiting for Robertson to get himself right back in the action, back to his seat, and then it will be all down to Chang Min-yu to get us underway for the 9th frame here. For the 8th frame, I should say. Still needs to work pretty hard to get himself on towards that 9th frame, which, I mean, he's going to be an achievement there. But of course, the bottom line is he's just won 2 really good frames there, and the problem for him is that he's not even halfway there. So winning the 3rd frame would mean that he's exactly halfway onto making this comeback to be possible. But yeah, that's exactly why I would still say Robertson is going to take this match away very comfortably indeed. If not in this frame, then in the next frame. I'm absolutely sure about it. So then, Chang Min-yu is still waiting very patiently, as he has been, for him to get on the score sheet, being 5-0 down. Now 1-2 frames on the bounce, so we're going to have to wait and see if Robertson is going to be able to re-establish himself with a 4-frame gap. And then, of course, by doing that, he would have won this match quite comfortably in the end. O'Sullivan did 6 straight, so did Murphy and C. Chang, maybe not. Yeah, but I think there's a couple of factors there that you don't really take into account. Matthew Sells, Jackson Page, Jiang Jun are not the same as Neil Robertson. That's number 1 factor, because 6 frames in a row were won against Sells, against Page, and against Jiang Jun there. I don't think Robertson is going to be in the same equation as those 3. Also, I think Chang Min-yu is not in the same equation as someone like Murphy, someone like O'Sullivan, or even someone like Si Jiahui. I still think Si Jiahui is better than him, but probably not right now based on form. But I think overall, you have to say that for me, Si Jiahui is still better, although you probably have to say he's probably better on his day. When it comes down to based on form, he's certainly going to be second best right now, which is quite sad. One of them was in the final of Scottish Open last season. One of them was in the semi-final of the World Championship 3 years ago. More than 3 years ago now. Which feels like it was yesterday. Where he had that 14-7 of a lead against Brussels. And that was tight. For the shot that Chang Min-yu was taking. Nearly had a double kiss, which would have been a calamity for him. And certainly would have allowed Robertson to get the first point on the board, since, I mean, I don't know if you can call those 4 foul points as an answer there, because, I mean, it wasn't Robertson that scored them, it was a foul shot. So certainly up until that point, we had more than 200 points there without an answer from Robertson, who's now going to go for a shot into the corner. Missed that one by a mile, but in the end, seemingly played a very nice safety shot in relation to just stunning that cue ball to be in between the bulk line and the blue ball line as well. Will Murphy play against O'Sullivan if they both win their next matches? Yes, Gareth, that will be the case. They will play in the quarterfinals if Murphy is able to defeat Salgadon and O'Sullivan is able to defeat Naphon St. Kham. We've seen them play twice, I think, last season. One in the Riyadh Championship, which I still call an exhibition match. 4-0, worst performance I've ever seen from Ronnie. By a mile, and nobody can prove me wrong. Ever. 4-0 loss. The yellow that he missed into that left corner, I will forever remember as one of the worst shots I've ever seen him miss. Under no pressure, under no sort of real need of trying to do something special with the positional play there. He was just absolutely out of order with the way that he was playing. And even he admitted it. He felt like he was playing pretty well, apart from that particular match, throughout the entire season, apart from that particular match. Now then, Chang Minyu, once again, is going to be able to try and develop on a bit of a... Well, that's a weird shot. Why did he have to play? I mean, maybe the black wasn't available, but still, why so much power, Chang? I want to see another angle of that one, but somehow he missed the red, which I thought was going to be unmissable there. Something that does remind you about the first frame. Now then, is Robertson going to be finally able to put that drought of points behind him? He's got not the easiest shot into the green pocket, but so far, the way the pockets have been playing to the players, these have been the unmissable shots as well. Although, I'm not sure how well Robertson has played this particular shot here. And what's the situation on the pink and the blue there? I think he was playing for the blue, and I don't think he's got a really good traction there in relation to playing the blue now. He's probably going to have to take the pink on, and it's not really going to be the easiest thing that he can try and achieve. So then, playing with plenty of backspin, trying to just carry that cue ball towards the left side of the table, and very carefully getting that cue ball across the left side cushion out there. Played that shot well. Let's see where the pink is going to go there. It's probably going to go onto the black spot, which is no issue at all, even though the black is going to be in the way of the pink. But there is also a blue spot that is available. So I don't think Robertson is going to struggle into putting, the red away into the right corner. Then potentially line himself up with a shot in towards, the left corner on the black there, as he decides to play the alternative way for now. But ultimately, as I say, doesn't really have to worry about anything right there, Robertson. He's still 5-2 clear. He's got a great opportunity ahead of him, based on the reds and also based on the colours, when he's got at least 4 more reds that are available to him, on top of 14 points that he's going to be able to score with the pink. And that's going to get him into a very healthy advantage. At that stage, he doesn't really have to worry about getting into the reds too soon. And just having a reasonable play there. Taking a bit of a time in between those shots, which is completely understandable, especially since he's had a bit of a drought in the previous 2 frames. And as I say, out of the 4 reds that he's had available, he's just taken the most difficult one away, and he's also about to take another massive milestone away for him, as the black to be taken away into the left corner, which is going to be great news for him. So played with plenty of topspin on the cue ball, try and get that cue ball to be dragged across the table, and positioning himself for the highest of the reds available. Of course, the black now, as I said previously, is going to go onto the blue spot, which is another great news there for Robertson, because now he's got the pink on the black spot, he's got the black on the blue spot, he's got the blue in the middle of the table as well, in case he's going to be in the middle of those 2 colours. The only thing that he must do, which is exactly what he's done there, is not run himself a little bit wide on the colours, because he's not really got a great variety of the reds. He's trying to make his way onto the reds there, but once again, you feel like Robertson is just unable to clear the frame with a single visit to the table there. He's done that on so many occasions where he's genuinely been stuck on something like 30 points out there all the time, on average, when he comes down to getting that break on the board, which, I know Chang has been doing that, and probably not even getting to that stage throughout the start of the match, but not in the 8th frame. He shouldn't really be doing it like that. And Robertson, of course, he's got no choice now. He's going to have to play a safety shot. So, bizarre couple of shots for him. But ultimately, not being able to punish that mistake from Chang Minyu to be proven very costly indeed. And the position is still far from a problem there for Chang Minyu, as we're now looking for an opportunity here for him to be taking a red away in towards the left corner. Well, you can have a look at the reds from the right-hand side there, but you have to be very, very careful as they approach each other. And one of them could always go towards the left corner, which is exactly what happened. Now Chang needs to get a little bit of cover. And, he'll get cover. Whether he's going to get cover on the reds a little bit closer to the white there, it's difficult to tell from this angle, but he may have actually got the cover on the red, which is going to be the closest to the pocket there. So let's see what Robertson's thinking is going to be. Well, he has to go for an attacking shot there to me, because he simply doesn't have the ability to be brushing the reds on the right-hand side there, which would be the only way for him to try and get the cue ball somewhat safe in behind the ball colours. But, well, whatever he does, he's going to have to go for an attacking shot here, and it could be the one that wins him the frame. But it could be another one that gives Chang Minyu the chance. Well, that one was a mile away from the target. And tell you what, it was actually not the worst kiss that he had. He may have put the cue ball slightly closer towards those reds, but still, the angle now for the pot of Chang Minyu is not going to be quite as straightforward as he was previously. So that still needs to play the shot well and also just to navigate his way through those reds, hopefully without touching them, because he still needs to be on the colour after if, of course, he's able to pot this red away, which he was. But now, as I said, he needed to make his way past the colours. Very keen to have a look if the blue is available to him, but through the smallest of gaps there, that's not going to be the case. And ultimately, I think he'll do pretty well to find himself a good safety shot there to play. Now, 29 points is the deficit, so 107 still at the table. So I think he might still be able to make the clearance away there without needing that extra red on the right-hand side of the table and still, you know, be clear of any danger there from Robertson barring snookers. As he's now 29 points behind, so if you get him... So that's 72 points that he can score. If you get him to 72, 73, yeah, he's still going to be very much fine without that red. So yeah, he's still got a great chance of trying to get a little bit closer to Robertson in relation to this particular frame. As he's now looking for a chance to be putting that red away, I should say, in towards the left part of the table. A little bit too thick there on the contact for the red, and ultimately will compromise the cue ball. And to be fair, still got relatively close towards getting that one through towards the ball cushion, and now allowing himself to be within that window of trying to go for the reds into the left corner, not really being available. But Chang is still looking to try and exploit the reds on the right-hand side of the table for good measure. So then he went for that one. He didn't really make that one too close to the pocket, and still nice little control of the cue ball. But Robertson inevitably will have a chance to be potting the red away in towards the left corner. His one is going to be a little bit more risky, but I suppose the line of the red is going to be a little bit more straightforward as well. So then it's an easier shot for you to pot, but the consequences of you missing it are going to be more severe as well. So it's one of them, but I don't really see an alternative there for Robertson if you think about it. You may feel like he's actually getting forced into this one. Not necessarily the worst thing in the world. He's missed the previous long red by a mile. Let's see if he's going to be getting a lot closer to this one. Well, not really. Once again, missed it for a mile, and I think because of that, because of how much he missed the contact on the red by, he was actually able to put the cue ball in a somewhat safe position. I mean, he still put that red pretty much over the corner pocket, but I'll tell you what, I'm not sure Chang Minyu is going to be able to see that one. And even if he can, could have been a lot worse there had the cue ball met the full resistance of those reds at the middle of the table. So then let's see what the decision is going to be there for Chang. And the decision is he's going to try and make his way a long way around after trying to put one of the reds into the left corner. More angle to aim at, more pocket to aim at as well, but ultimately not enough of the pocket to aim for him. And, well, Robertson was a little bit fortunate on the previous occasion. Now, maybe it's a little bit of a chance here for Chang to get fortunate, but I feel like that contact with the black didn't really make a massive difference, apart from putting the black to be now over the corner pocket, over the yellow pocket, I should say. So then, whoever gets the first chance you feel on the red might fancy their chances to have a guaranteed colour in the pocket. So then, Robertson is still going to be potentially trying to explore the red on the right-hand side there. Gets the dangerous red away, which is very important for him, but also gets the cue ball to be positioned quite nicely there when it comes down to the position alongside that dangerous red away. He's put another dangerous red quite close to the left corner now, so... But of course, I don't think Chang is able to see either one of those two. Certainly for the attacking display. And therefore, he's going to have to either go for a shot along the side cushion, which is going to be a lot more difficult than you would expect it to be. Or alternatively, of course, having to play a safety shot and just having to realise the difficulty that will be very much on his shoulders. But, well, he's missed the two shots previously, and he's just thinking about it at the end. It's just a little bit too much for him to achieve. And both of the players have missed the previous two long shots they've attempted, but, you know, Chang can't really afford to be missing anymore because he already finds himself 29 points behind and a little bit on the ropes there when it comes down to the chances for him to be the match winner here. So I said he can't see the red on the left-hand side of the table for an attacking shot there. He may be able to see enough of it for a defensive shot there. And at the end of it, he could see enough for that red to be taken away and into the right corner. Now, the question is, I said he was going to have the black over the corner, and he will. The question is, what can he actually do with that black? And how many points is he going to be able to score in the current visit to the table? He's got plenty of opportunities to try and get quite far in this break. But of course, first of all, he's going to have to try and pot the black here, get the cue ball to be heading very wide and into the left side cushion, but in the end, unable to do that at all. And he might have actually snookered himself on the red. That would have been the easiest one to play for. And, well, he can't believe it. At least he's smiling. That's the only good thing about it, because he doesn't have a lot to be smiling about out there. Because, once again, he was taking such a risky shot on the previous occasion with how much power he was putting behind that cue ball on the red. And at the end of it all, it's now going to be down to 21 points as the deficit. And, you know, Robertson still being 21 points in the lead. So unless Chang decides to go for a red into the corner, well, that was certainly a way for him to stay on the break there. That was a brilliant plan that he was able to find out of absolutely nowhere. And when you feel like he's got no chance, well, you have to think again on that occasion. Still losing points, though, as he's about to take the green on. As much as he wants to put himself in the equation for the frame first, but he also wants to try and avoid needing that red on the right side cushion, which means he needs to try and re-establish the position of the cue ball to be quite a nice one quite soon. Of course, he's got the black now and the pink to be on their spots there, apart from their swap positions. So then 17 points is still the difference in between Chang and Robertson here. As we now hit the 3-hour mark of the match since it started. So far we haven't really seen those, you know, free-flowing matches out there, apart from maybe Jackson Page against Ronnie O'Sullivan, where the average time for the frame was certainly below the expected average out there as well. As we now go for the pink to be taken in towards the right corner. And now there is going to be an opportunity for Chang to try and get himself right back in the mix here when he comes down to the points. Still think he's going to have to be very careful in relation to what colours does he actually prefer to go for. You remember, he has used the green once. He used the black once, and now he's about to use the pink for the second consecutive time there. He just needs to have more than 35 points of the advantage before he's going to get onto that last of those reds. Still possible for now as it stands. He's got 5 reds ahead of him, 3 points behind, so he needs to score something like 39 or 38 points. 39 preferably, if he doesn't want to respot. 39 out of those points, so needs to take all 5 of those reds with the black there, with one chance of taking the blue ones, but he may have to change that here, because I don't know if he's doing the maths now, but yeah, I mean, the blue is actually a better shot for him to take on right now, and also he could do with the blue to be respotted there, but as I say, that would leave him with straight away needing that red on the right side cushion, which, you know, is a long way down the table, but still, it's not something that you want to be very much focused on later on, as he plays a really good shot there in the meantime. Gets himself very much 2 straight there on the red, as he now finds himself 5 points clear of Robertson. And still looking at a potential chance of playing for the red in towards the left middle. So then the chance for Chang Min-yu to try and stay in the match for at least a frame longer does seem like it's going to be there with him to stay at least, you know, for a while at this frame. Because, of course, Robertson now find himself in a position where you will need not only that red on the side cushion, but also you will need the yellow, which is currently massively compromised by the brown. So you feel like if you want a quick resolution, you're very much on Team Chang Min-yu right now for this particular frame. 42 points of a break. Once again, he's managed to up his break building skills by a long mile there. And once again, you have to put it down to Robertson just not being able to, you know, get the most out of his own position and his own circumstances at the start of the frame there, where he was only able to score 30 points out of the position, which was worth a lot more than that, you feel. And now about to be a very much counter-attack there with a break of 50 points exactly there from Chang, as he was a little bit nervous to see the cue ball so close to be making a contact with one of those reds on the black ball cushion, but at the end no contact was made. And now we're looking at 21 points of 21 points of a gap there. So for him to get past 35, he needs to take every single one of the, well, one red with a black, one red with a pink, basically. And that's exactly the math that he's doing here. So then he can afford to be doing it now, but he must take the black away on the last red, which is not the easiest thing to do, because the red is quite close to the black wall cushion. Not quite close as the previous one, though. But also, of course, he needs to make sure he doesn't just focus on, getting that red and the black combination. He also needs to actually pot the pink and the red itself. So then, he got a little bit of a contact on the red. Let's see now if he's able to pot it and get himself through to a chance of being lined up on the black out there. So 57 points on the break. Now then, can he pot the red away? He can. How's the position on the black? It's not going to be a bad one either. So then Chang Min-yu, seemingly, he's going to be able to get himself halfway there, barring snookers. 29 points ahead. He'll be 36 with a black there. And he'll make it the third highest break, the second highest break for himself there. Achieved in the whole match with 65 points there. So then still looking at this red to be taken into the right corner. I mean, he ideally wants to get the red in as well, because you don't really want that hassle with all the snookers to be put through alongside Neil Robertson, and in the end, it won't really be the case here. So, Robertson, I mean, he could try and actually use that yellow, which usually would be a problem for him, as a bit of the advantage there, because he's got now a red over the corner. He's got the black very much available to him, which I don't think he will need. He can easily just take the pink away now, but, he probably needs to take the red and the colour, which will get him the closest towards being on top of the yellow there, and just send the yellow as far away down the table as you can, and get the contact point in behind the brown there, which all of a sudden, at that stage, if you get the snooker lines up, you could find yourself in a brilliant position. And all of a sudden, Chang Min-yu won't be feeling that confident out there, as he now finds himself 35 points behind and still looking to try and exploit the 34 points available to him. So then still looking for a chance there with Robertson, with a shot on the pink still being very much not an easy one for him to take, but of course he had to leave an angle like that so that he's got an opportunity to try and place that cue ball in behind the yellow and brown. That's not really going to be the case here though, as he now gets the brown away from the yellow, so that's not really going to make his chances to be a lot better. But, well, yeah, I mean, not at all to be fair, because I'm just thinking, what can he actually achieve here then? Is he going to go for the contact point on the yellow and just carefully play that shot on towards the green, which is still not going to be an easiest thing for him to try and achieve out there, you have to say. But at the same time, it's better than just leaving that yellow to be in open position there for Chang Min-yu to see. So then, it's going to be a safety shot of some sort, but I don't really see him trying to pot the yellow out there. Yes, he's now going to try and get the brown to have to be the prevention there and the obstacle in between the cue ball and, the yellow and the contact point. So let's see what Chang has to do with it and what he thinks about the situation that he finds himself with. He can see the yellow very comfortably, and I think he's going to attempt a double there in towards the left middle just because he can. And he thinks against it, so clearly just trying to preserve that lead with no extra risk taken until he gets an easy opportunity there. Ahead of Neil Robertson for now, just trying to get the snooker lines up on Neil himself. 29 points is the deficit, 27 at the table. So then he's going to have to try and explore the situation on the yellow here, Neil. And, of course, the best way for him to try and do that is to get the cue ball in behind the brown or green. Unable to do that on this occasion, as he gives the turn back to Chang here, and still positions himself in a pretty awkward place there in relation to he can't really pot the yellow here into the right corner, so he's going to have to try and probably play this one as a safety shot and just get the yellow to be, going somewhere closer towards the left corner. Well, he could actually get it through a contact point on the blue, so that does seem like it's going to kill the frame off there. Well, I certainly thought the blue was going to be getting in the way of the yellow into the right corner. That wasn't the case, but anyway, it's now going to be a shot on the green, which is going to be by a mile. So let's see if Robertson is going to fancy his chances of getting back to the table. 5-0 and Min-yu win. I mean, if that happens, it'll be the comeback of the season, as I said, but I think we're a long way from that. Had to battle very hard here to get himself, back into the action. Now, let's see what Robertson is going to be thinking about here then. We've got a very nice line to be getting that cue ball behind the pink. That's what he's thinking about. Well, I'll tell you what, that certainly would have been very handy if he came in on the previous time of asking. And Chang is now going to be looking very nervously to see what's going to happen with his points there that he's got as an advantage. So he can afford to miss this one once, with Robertson still needing another snooker out there. But of course doesn't really want to see that to be achieved. And he has missed. He's gone around the green there. So then we're back to the previous situation before the yellow was spotted, because 4 points were lost and 4 points were gained now for Neil Robertson, as he now finds himself in a position of 27 points behind and still 25 at the table. Didn't play this shot too well though, although he still put the cue ball into a safe place, which is about as much as he could have asked for. Now then, an opportunity for the green to be played towards the yellow pocket there for Chang Min-yu. See if he's going to try and take that opportunity, or is he going to be very much playing the long game and just trying to get the safety in place. Now then, looking at, could potentially try and compromise the brown as well there, but I think that's going to be a little bit too risky there, of aiming one of the colours to go into the other one. As well, it's exactly what he's done anyway, even though he wasn't trying to touch the brown, he was just trying to get the green into the open place there, with no colours next to it. But in the end stage, didn't seem to play that shot too well. And there Robertson just trying to get the safety in place whilst getting that cue to be coming around. If he comes to decide a loser will be needing a shoulder, well, tell you what, certainly. But it's one of those things there where if Chang Min-yu gets himself to the frame 10, which means he wins 4 in the bounce, he's just going to be very disappointed with how, not good enough of a performance he's put in the first 5 frames. But let's see if he's going to be able to win this frame first. Because Robertson, he's about to have the green very close towards the brown and very close towards the cue ball as well. So now, this is where, well, I'm not sure about the golf skills, but this is where geometry is going to be very important for you. Because for me, I think the cue ball is not quite in a position where you can, get the green to be away here and just try and bounce the cue ball away with plenty of topspin. Now, the cue ball is going to be heading in behind the black here, which is a brilliant shot that he's played. Has he played it too well, though? Well, that's the question. And Chang Min-yu will hope to provide the answer to that. The question is, can he swerve around the black there? I don't think he can. But ultimately, it's quite a big area for him to try and hit the green. Although it's still quite far away from the side cushion. So let's see if he hits this one. Very much full in the face. Not in the face. Very thin on the edge, but so that's going to do him nicely. There's Robertson there, starting to ramp up the pressure there and make him feel worried a little bit on some of those occasions. Because, yeah, he was able to play the shot quite well. Of course, would have been even nicer had he managed to block off the right-hand side of the table through the pink. That would have meant the cue ball had to travel a little bit further. So then just trying to overcut the green, and once again being very, very close towards the blue, but just touching it from sideways rather than from the bottom. And bottom right corner, I should say. And yeah, well, Chang now is going to have a chance for the green to be taken in towards the yellow pocket here. So then, let's see if that's going to be the opportunity taken this time around. So is he going to have to settle for another one for him to see a little bit later on, as he now nearly... Well, that was certainly one way for you to finish the frame there. I think that's going to be the end. And Chang Min-yu has now fluked the green. Robertson clearly didn't expect that one. He was walking all the way to be seeing what's going to happen with the green. But now, of course, it's not going to be any point to try and continue the frame there. It is 3 frames on the bounce that Chang Min-yu is able to take away from Neil Robertson. And a 5-0 lead, which seemed like it was going to be so comfortable there for Robertson, all of a sudden has turned to be a 5-3 of a lead there. And Neil Robertson, well, he'll certainly find himself in trouble if he loses yet another frame. Because for now, it is Neil Robertson 5, Chang Min-yu 3. And the chances just keep on coming there for Robertson. But for now, he just has not been able to take any one of them to get himself over the finish line. And that's exactly why Chang Min-yu is still in play. And he's still very much alive there when it comes down to just having to win 3 more frames there. He's done it before in this match. Can he try and do it again and pull off what, as I said, would already be one of the great contenders for the comeback of the season. You know, it's all about something like a comeback like this, because he was playing against Ronnie O'Sullivan there in the Saudi Masters last season, and a very similar performance like that he had, but just not able to get himself into that window of getting over the line there. 5-3, I think he had the lead off, or 4-2, and yeah, Ronnie was just about able to edge him in the decider with winning 3 frames of the bounce, which was super great for him, but at the same time, it's now 3 frames that Chang was able to win. He's going to have to try and do the same thing again, though, if he wants to try and take this match all the way out there, which is still possible for him. I think it's mission impossible at 5-0. I think it's certainly mission difficult at 5-3 down. But it's now going to be Chang Min-yu still with an opportunity to get us underway here for the 9th frame after a break-off shot from Robertson. Yeah, it's certainly been a while since we've seen Robertson to be playing some consistent snooker and some consistent scoring as well, which was something that we've seen very frequently in the first 5 frames. You know, even when he wasn't winning frames in a single visit to the table, he still felt like there was going to be another chance for him that came his way all the time there, because down to his brilliant long shot or whatever, or down to Chang Min-yu, leaving him a chance available. But now, as you can see, only 115 points down there in relation to the scoring, and yeah, the highest break doesn't seem like it's going to be too shabby at all for Chang Min-yu. 48, 63, 65, and 86 in comparison to 36, 72, 95, and 114 as well. Now then, the referee's about to pass the cue ball once again back towards Neil Robertson, and of course it's now been a break-off since. He thought he might not have to do that again, and we're now ready to get the action underway. Robertson is now getting the thumbs up from the referee, and he's now ready to get us underway. As I say, frame number 9. It's already done quite well there, Chang, to get us so far into this match. But now, I mean, he'll do really, really well if he gets down to this frame number 10, not even talking about frame number 11, because if he gets to a decider, tell you what, he's going to have to be the favourite in my eye line. I'll tell you that for free. Good break-off shot there from Robertson. I think even though he's left the red into the right corner, it'll be very, very difficult to get on the black on that particular occasion. And so far, I think Chang has been playing the patience game quite consistently, and I think it's went well. I mean, easy to try to take this one on there. He was, which was surprising. I mean, I was just about to say he was playing the patience game, and now he decided to throw that out of the caution. And well, a little bit weird decision, because he certainly doesn't have a brilliant position up ahead of him, so he's going to have to work for this one. And now he's going to have to work for a chance there to come after a potential mistake there from Robertson, because he's still got a chance here to be taking a red away in towards the left corner. So let's see what's going to happen now then with the Robertson shot, and he's going to be a really nice cute shot there. Well, that was Chang Min-yu shooting himself in the foot there out of absolutely nowhere. He's given Robertson a chance, which, I mean, I said the previous frame was a golden opportunity. This is going to be a platinum opportunity, because this is even better. You know, you've got the chance of trying to get himself lined up for the black there for every single one of the reds. The black has got so much clean air, so much open space around it. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 reds on top of the one that he's already managed to spot with the black. So yeah, could prove to be a very costly mistake there from Chang. And I mean, that's of course always the issue there when you find yourself being 5-0 down. You know, it just takes one mistake there, and even if Robertson wasn't able to take it on one of the occasions, if he gets another one and he takes it, he only needs 1 frame, and then all that work is going to be undone completely there, and you still feel like, well, it's a very comfortable win of 6 frames to 3. Yes, he lost 3 frames to the bounce, but not that it's going to matter. But what he needs to do there is just avoid being silly and you know, trying to get into the bunch of the reds too much. I mean, on that occasion, he's done it in a nice controlled fashion, and he also, I think he was forced into doing that. But he just needs to make sure he takes all the loose reds away and doesn't make the same mistake as getting himself stopped on 30 points out there. I think the difference in between 30 and something like 45 points would have been massive in the previous frame. So, yeah, going to have to wait and see what's going to happen here. For now, he's on 24 points, 3 reds, 3 blacks. Getting the cue ball with plenty of backspin to be getting himself a very nice little positional shot on the red. Taking it to the left corner. So then still 70% of the poll would say it's going to be for Robertson. Well, I did say I don't really see a one-sided match from Robertson's point of view if he is to win. I didn't really mean that he's going to be getting himself a 5-0 lead and then lose 3 frames on the bounce, but I suppose I did say Chang Min-yu was going to win 6 frames to 4, and I would certainly take prediction if Robertson is actually able to win this match by 6 frames to 3. I think it's been a match full of entertainment, full of drama, but at the same time, I think it's been full of frustration there for both of the players there for different reasons. I think for Robertson, it was all down to just not being able to get over the finish line. And for Chang Min-yu, of course, it is down to wasted opportunities. And how many of them have we seen to go outside of the window, literally because of just not being able to find himself in that good position of playing for the red there. I mean, has he done that again? I think he's put himself out of position again here. Well, 38 points this time around. So it's 8 points in improvement based on what we've seen last time. But as I say, he's got another red at the top side of the table, but clearly wasn't playing for it, which means it's going to be a little bit tough for him to pot that red away, and he didn't. Now then, is he going to get a fluke of his own? Well, he wants that red to slow down because it's going to be under threat of actually going over the middle. So then 38 points out there. Game over. Good night. Well, not yet. Not yet. 38 points was the maximum that Robertson was able to achieve. And now, let's see what Chang Min-yu is going to be able to achieve with this particular break there. But of course, it all came after a reckless chance there for Chang Min-yu, which he thought he had, which I didn't think he had. You know, going for that long raid with so much power, clearly had no conviction that he was going to make it. And at the end, leaving a simple chance away for Robertson. No, I mean, I say simple. It wasn't simple, but really leaving a really good position away to Robertson certainly didn't help his case scenario. But now, 38 points behind. All the raids, apart from one now, that after Robertson's shot has gone onto the side cushion are going to be available. And it's a brilliant safety shot, by the way, from Neil. Look at how close the cue ball is to the middle of the table. And it is perfectly lines up on the ball cushion as well. So he's going to probably have to take that red away from the side cushion here as a cross double. Maybe he's get out of jail card on 2 of the different occasions, but still has to be very careful of 2 things. A double kiss, but also the thing that he wasn't really careful of, leaving that same red away to the cue ball and getting too much power there on the white. I think he's going to be able to get past the blue here, Neil. So let's see what's going to happen. Match fix Robertson loses match 5-6. Come on, Neil, get it done, lad. 6 chick not match. Well, I mean, I still think it is going to be down to a decent opportunity there for, you know, a shot onto the left corner available there. But I feel like if Robertson was thinking about it and was actually going to take that red on, he would have taken it by now. So maybe there is an element of the blue to be intervening with that red, or maybe there is just, you know, a little bit of lack of confidence that you actually be able to go for a top of a shot like that. So both of the things can be considered, and I think both of them are reasonable factors there for you to take a step back there and just try and hold on to those 38 points that you've got as a lead. Play a decent safety shot, which he's done on the previous occasion, and he's done once again superbly well right now. And yeah, gonna be seeing Chang Min-yu in all sorts of trouble there in relation to the position of the cue ball. When he comes down to the safety, I still think there is going to be room for him to try and make his way past those reds. Maybe getting the black towards the right corner. And in the end, that wasn't really what he's done, but he has certainly put one of the reds way too high up the table. The question is now, does that red cut into the right middle? I think it does. And if it does, Robertson has managed to play the patient game, and it seems to have worked out pretty well for him here. Robertson lose 1000%. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think he's got a great chance of going for this red. If not for the right middle, then for the right corner. And he made that one in. Not too confident, though, on the throttle, I would say. As he now, well, to be fair, as I was saying that, I felt like he was just, you know, a little bit too thin on the red, and that was going to compromise the exit of the cue ball. But at the end, he's still nicely lined up for the green. And, well, we're going to be potentially seeing a really good chance here for Neil Robertson to try and get himself in towards the second round here. Only needs one more frame. Needed that for a while. Now, once again, it all comes down to the green. The colour, which Neil Robertson has crossed path with for the vast majority of the match so far, as he now puts himself a little bit wide there when it comes down to taking another red away. I mean, he's sort of I think he's blocked himself from taking the red away into the right middle, which I'm not going to say it's a huge issue because I can't tell you the grade of that issue right now. Once again, because of China Open, they don't really use another camera angle. I mean, they show you his face, which is fantastic, and he's very handsome indeed, but I don't really care about you showing me him. I really do care about the angle of the red right underneath the pink there, if it goes into the right corner, because it changes the things massively. If it goes, sweet, Robertson's won the match. If it doesn't, he's going to have to go for another very difficult shot away, not just on the rest and getting the red in, but ultimately getting himself into a position where he's going to be able to pot the colour from, which is not quite as easy as it looks. And, well, he's got the red in. I think he's on the pink, but what I think doesn't really matter. We're about to see from the body language if Robertson thinks so. And the absence of a reaction probably suggests that he can see enough of the pink there, but still nowhere near as simple as it could have been there for him. And the position is still wide open. Can't afford a mistake. Doesn't get a mistake. And that surely was the match-winning shot there. Way too simple now in relation to the position ahead of him. And that's exactly why it was so important for him just to get one shot away, which puts him right back in control of this position. That's exactly what he's done. And he's about to have a couple of free shots there as he takes that red away nicely into the corner. Mark my word. Well, I don't think we're going to have to mark your word at all, because I think it's just going to be a lot of nonsense, especially with Robertson there getting a gigantic step closer with every single time he pots a colour in the reds. 56 points ahead now of Chang Min-yu, and only needs 2 more reds, 2 more colours, and then he'll be bye-bye Chang Min-yu, and he'll be hello to Neil Robertson and the second round, as Australian is going to show a little bit of bottle there at the end, after having 2 very shaky frames to start this 5-0 of a lead for him. Then he was able to hang in there for the vast majority of the 8th frame, but was always on the back foot through the second phase of that frame. Now then, as I say, 63 points with the pink, and then you only need 1 more red and 1 more colour. The red is going to be on the plate, and then it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be difficult for him to get on the black at all. So then, some really good shots though that Robertson had to make his way through on his way towards the 63 points of an advantage, 25 points on the break. A little bit surprised they decided to play for the blue there, because it does make the shot a little bit more difficult. But he's got plenty of backsmen on the previous occasion, and now just trying to play the cue ball through the shot in between the green and the brown, and that is of course match ball. And it's now 69 points of a lead there for Neil Robertson. Of course, would love to get this red into the corner as well, to make sure that we're not going to see another Pang Jung Soo, and another chance there for, you know, snookers to be overturned and Robertson to be losing the frame anyway. And he does squeeze that red in, so that will be a frame win. And of course, that would mean a match win for him as well. Century to finish now. He doesn't have enough points, I think. He doesn't have enough points. He's got 66 points at the table, if you count the colours. And then it's going to be, 59 as he pots the blue there. So it's not going to be able to finish with a century. But he's made a century before. He's made a century of 114 points earlier today. And he's going to be able to finish with pretty much 600 points out there. 591 to be precise. And he's still going, as he now pots a red away in towards the right corner. Of course, dominant performance there at the end, you have to say. With, just not quite enough points there. He certainly looks like he's got enough points for a century because of how many points he's able to score overall, but not quite on this occasion, as he has scored 38 points at the first visit to the table. Make that 43 now, and he's now going to be very much down to a red into the left middle, which will be staying out at the table, but ultimately someone who will be staying out at the China Open is going to be Neil Robertson, as he has taken a win over Chang Min-yu, and he's done that in a very interesting, but also, you have to say, a very confident fashion at the end. Despite having a 5-0 lead, losing 3 frames on the bounce, he was still having a very dominant frame number 9 there, as he's now able to breeze past Chang Min-yu and win this match 6 frames to 3. He will now play Si Jiawei in the next round, and we do have another player in the top 16 that has managed to, probably against the odds there. I think Chang Min-yu was, a slight favourite there when it comes down to the actual odds on who's going to be the winner, certainly from my point of view, and I think from the official odds as well. But I think Robertson was able to hang in there, and he was able to find himself in a really good position, winning 6-3, really good performance balanced overall. I think the only thing he needs to work on is his positional play. Way too many times he's running himself out of position. Apart from that, he's done really well. You can be really happy with it as well. And I think you should be very satisfied with how that one is gone. Anyway, that will be it for me for the first round of this particular match. Stay tuned in. There will be Chang against Xiaoxington tomorrow in the afternoon session in Europe. Very much the evening session in China, as we welcome the 2025 world champion to try and get himself through to the second round for the first time here at the China Open. Let's see if Chang will have something to say about that for a potential rematch for a World Grand Prix final. Thank you very much for everyone tuning in, and stay tuned in for even more action as the China Open is about to enter into the second round, as yet another top seed is going to be through. Neil Robertson joins the likes of Weezer to be making it through down to the last 16. Let's see how far either one of them will be making it towards these tournaments, and potentially with a chance to try and become the new world number one after Judd Trump is about to lose a good chunk of points based on Saudi of 2 years ago. Thank you again, and see you later.